Okay,
I'm
now we.
you guys. I love you guys.
I
I
love
say
you
hi to
too.
hi to you guys. It's like breathe.
All
Here
right,
we
we're
are.
live. We are live.
Right. Hi everybody. Greetings. 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 We just had a few minutes. It's 1:11 over here. We just had a few minutes to kind of check in. I love you guys.
I love you too.
I need you guys. Not me.
No.
I don't even have YouTube open yet. I'm so excited. I kind of want to start
did
the
it.
show and it's all. But anyway, we're so happy to be with you guys today. We've had a few minutes kind of chit-chatting about some of the things that are happening in our world today, and it's always really eye-opening and just kind of a shakedown. I think the closer that we get to the truth, the more we get refined and the more we really need to funnel through some things. So I said it might be a good idea for us to say the Lord's Prayer to kind of ground into this material for today and this study. And if you guys want to say it with me, or maybe just whatever you want, I'm going to read it.
Yeah, you do it. There would be a little bit of an echo if we all tried to say it. So you go ahead.
So take a moment and take a deep breath. Let your belly get big and exhaling through your mouth. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen.
There it is.
Thank you. Great way to start.
Old ringing, but it's all good. It's ringing. It's reworking. I feel it. It's like I can literally feel the rework in my brain when it's like going in an old direction and it gets redone. It's the power of the Bible right now. It's so potent, this stuff.
Truly, yeah. It's that mind stretch, just rewiring everything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marie. Big kiss. Where are you?
Thank you.
There.
It's great to be with you guys. So,
beautiful.
Wow, here we go. We are diving into chapter 7, are we not?
Yeah, starting with chapter 7. And just quickly before we get going, I did receive some notes from people for the last two shows and really appreciate that. So thank you for anyone who sent those. If anyone feels like typing notes today and sending those over, I greatly appreciate it. And so what I'm going to do is I've just got a shared folder that I'm just dropping any notes that I receive in their original format for any of y'all to look at and download. Just and keep in mind, it's based on the interpretation of whoever's writing the notes, but these should be very helpful to kind of give a summary of what's been covered and give some key highlights. So I appreciate anyone who's wants to do that. And the link to that will be in my link tree and also in the show notes. So just wanted to throw that out there. I appreciate y'all.
Hey, Justin, did you get those two links to the two videos?
Yes, I did. I forgot about that. You sent it yesterday or day before?
Yeah, yesterday. I think the night before.
Okay,
which may translate.
I have them here.
And it's only 5 minutes. It's 2 clips from Prince, and but they relate to everything that we're going to be talking about today, and very, very, very powerful because Prince is saying you need to get a legitimate copy of the Bible. You need to read it for yourself, and then you need to find someone who can help you to fully understand what's being said, because that's the book, and that's got everything that you need in it.
All right, well, we'll start with those.
reason why it
What was it that you were listening to in music today that made you say, I've got to put some more stuff out there? You have to do this.
Mainly I sensed a great deal of negativity and entropy in the music. There's a disintegration going on that we really have to address. Our values have been lessened to a great degree. VH1's been pretty cool. They don't show too much craziness on their channel, but other Viacom channels do. So I think that we should address this as a community as to what it's doing to the culture. People can say all they want to, that there's no reason for these kids to listen to music and then go shoot somebody. But, you know, there's something that's triggering these buttons.
Do you feel responsible as an artist
Very
for
much so.
what you're putting? Do you think that other people do?
No, I don't.
You talk about music that's going out there right now. Are you talking about any particular type of music that you don't think is such a positive influence?
Well, it's very obvious when you hear words and lyrics, whether they enlighten or discourage.
Okay, so hip-hop gets slammed a lot. Marilyn Manson gets slammed, Korn gets slammed. A lot of those acts that are, you know, out there putting, is that what we're talking about?
It's not what I'm talking about.
No?
I'm just talking about the truth.
Just general?
Yeah. The truth is that you either are here to enlighten or discourage.
Do you feel like you obviously, you know, you've grown a lot and you've changed since 1982 and the 80s when you were putting out music, but you were always thought of as somebody who was putting out extremely sexual music.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a problem to you, or are you talking more about the profanity?
Yeah, sexuality is not bad.
No.
I'm talking about sexuality is very spiritual in nature, and that's a God-given gift too. No, I'm talking about just plain disintegration, where you're not even speaking the truth anymore, you know, and the violent imagery that's permeated the society and our music now. And sampling is getting to the point where it's out of hand too. I mean, pretty soon we'll be sampling the sample that was already sampled.
Somebody was joking saying Mariah Carey had sampled herself on the latest album. So, you know. How do you measure your success?
By, who was the rapper? Masterpiece said, "Only God can judge me." There it is. Only God can judge me.
All right. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Bold words to be coming out like that. And it makes sense, you know, towards the end of it. It's more just sort of pushing those buttons and saying, hey, I know what the game is. I know what you're playing. I know what y'all are doing. I'm not standing for it. Yeah, just love that strength. Love that passion. I mean, that's what we need. That's what we need right now, is for more to stand up and say enough, 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 enough. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your gift.
His voice was so calm as he spoke too. I mean, he was so clear, he was so direct, he was so centered. He knew what he was talking about. There was no defense. There was just clean and simple truth, and anyone could understand it. I mean, it wasn't, except for the interviewer in the second video. She kept trying to get him to, like, it was like, don't you get what he's saying here? And she's like, is it this? And he's like, But I find that that's a lot where people are too. There's so many barriers. They can't hear the truth. It's so plain and simple. It's right there. But there's such a, I don't know, it's what he's speaking to, this infusion of the culture that's complicated everything. So people can't even realize, like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense that record companies own the gift that God gave me. How did that happen? And then the contract aspect of it is a whole other piece that we're going to dive into more on Friday too. But Is my voice not good? Okay, I'll stop there and fix stuff up.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant, both of you. And notice how the second interview was November of 1999. So JFK Jr.'s plane went down July 16, 1999, and this is November. So this is just before Christmas of 1999. And you know, from that moment on, for Prince, you know, basically being integral, authentic, truthful, and a positive leader was so very important to him. And again, the way in the first video that he spoke about the Bible, and you know, again, listen to what he said. There, it's just very, very key that everyone understands this, because what he's saying is get a copy of the book and read it for yourself, and then find someone that can help you, because he said this thing is real. This thing is real. It is. It's everything. And there are components of it that are missing for sure, but in terms of what's there, it's still perfection, and the grace exists within those pages. But you have to be able to interpret it. You cannot trust these Pharisees and the lawyers and the scribes of the church. And the thing is, what we're going to find out today in chapters 7, 8, 9 in particular is that at every turn, the scribes, the Pharisees, and the lawyers came out against this Christed one, to stop him from healing the many. And we're going to show you, you know, explain to you what Jesus was doing that was healing the many. Because essentially what he was gifting everyone was gnosis. He was gifting them the knowing. And he wasn't doing this in such a way that he was making victims, so that, yeah, it's only me. And, you know, make sure you phone my secretary, make an appointment for next year. And then, you know, it'll be $35 per person next year, for sure. Cause you know, I've got travel expenses as well to get back here, but yeah, you know, call my secretary and we'll hook this up, because I don't want to see you get behind, you know, on your healing protocols through me. He empowered people for the rest of the way, for the rest of the journey. That's what this is all about. And what you're going to hear so much in 7, 8, 9 in Matthew is the word whole. The truth is whole. We need to become whole, because when we're whole, then we can be something that is honest and something that is authentic and integral. These are the words. These are the words, men and women. These are the words. This is what we have to become. We have to become integral souls. And what's going on out there right now is not integrity. And remember, I'll leave it at this, because I think we'll do another show separately of the Bible studies that deals with this. But what I'll say to everyone right now is this. Remember on when Justin and Siobhan were there January 6th, and this was sort of the exodus out of Egypt of President Trump, and he gave that beautiful speech. Everyone was there, and it's kind of it's the last day that all of us have had, sort of, you know, holding hands spiritually with one another, and feeling so good and feeling so confident about what was coming. And we were all very much trusting in the plan. You know, whatever was going to happen needed to happen, and we're trusting in the plan. Now, that's January 6th, and we're now in the middle of February. So we're about 6 weeks past, and people are falling letter. And like I mentioned to everyone, we are in Lent, and Lent is this 40 days. And this is the trial before the forging of the fire, which is Passover. You have to be ready for Passover. So you have to be sorely tempted during this period. And honestly, it's like, it's almost like 107 is very well aware of this, and is kind of pushing everyone into the desert. And so we're all here now. We're all out in the desert, and we're divided, scattered, leaderless, and we have got to come. We got to to get our minds right. We have to come to grips with what's happening right now. And so what's happening is that we're being tempted. We're being tempted to look the other way. We're being tempted to look at alternatives. We're being attempted to be severed from our finances. And this is the devil tempting Jesus. This is Satan tempting Jesus with, all you have to do, I'm going to transmutate you to the top of the mountain. Look around you and survey all that you see, and all of this can be yours if you only acknowledge me as your creator and pay homage to me as your overlord. And Christ's response to the devil, to Satan, was that the Lord doeth all of this for free already. It's already here. I don't need you. I don't need you at all. And so what's going on right now is that there's so many talking heads, and they're all spinning different things, but mostly it's fear and it's doubt, and you don't need them. We've already won this. This is all been done. We are heading towards the greatest day that exists every single year, and nobody pays any attention to it. It's not our new year, and it's totally our new year. It's not acknowledged as anything, and that's March 22nd, and it cannot be taken lightly. That's where we're headed to. So we're in the middle of the desert now, and but there is hope in sight, and that hope is the finish line, and the finish line is this resurrection. And what you need to remember as we dive into this in just a few seconds here is this: their world is a DE world. Everything is dead. Everything is a DE word, which takes away. The Bible, the Word of God, the teachings of Jesus Christ and the actions of Jesus Christ are RE words, and that is resurrection. That is revival, and that is refilling thy cup. And so it flows over once more, so that you don't live in lack, you live in abundance. And so just remember that in every single moment, the choice is yours to cling to the DE world or to know the RE world. And that's what we're going to do today. And that's what we're going to see in chapter 7, 8, 9 is the RE word.
Beautiful. All right, should we jump right into it? Do we want to read passage by passage for 7? I think it's a pretty important one to take it all in. So I'll start with the beginning. So if you're following along, jump to chapter 7, 7:1. Judge not that ye be not judged, for with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but consider not the beam that is in thine own eye? Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. So this is a big one, because there's a lot of, it's difficult to sort of pin down, what is judgment of another, and what is judgment of an action? What is judgment of sort of the stepping outside of the bounds of God's law, and where do we fit within that? Because as Charlie's mentioned before, when we judge someone, you can't really, unless you're willing to walk a mile in their shoes. And I can't take that on. I don't know what someone's been through to get them to be in the place where they are. However, with that said, it doesn't mean that I can excuse those inactions. I can't excuse the wrongdoings when they are committed. So there's a huge difference between judging a person and judging an action, judging a deed. So that's something that we really need to hone in on, because there's a lot of talk about judging. We shouldn't judge anybody or anything, and that's partially true. We shouldn't be judging any one individual, but we should be very much taking a look at where wrongs are committed and standing in right action and saying, no, that's not okay. So that's kind of I wanted to take away from that particular passage, because I think it's often misconstrued in a lot of ways.
Is my sound okay right now?
Yeah,
Is my
you're
sound
good.
okay? It's interesting. I think I can share a little story of how this plays into our real life. This morning, I had a former client reach out to me and say something about our show on Monday. She was like, "So why do you think coffee's bad for you?" And I love you so much. And it was like all of this like really flowery language. And then it was, um, I feel like you're projecting your beliefs onto us, and we're not supposed to judge. So I'm not judging you. This is what I'm paraphrasing. So I'm not judging you, but I think, that's your journey, and it maybe coffee isn't good or bad. And as we go further in this chapter, we're going to see he's, talking a little bit more about how, when we look at things that are either good or bad, like there are things, there's truth, like there's acidity and there's alkalinity, like that's a truth. That's not something I made up, and that's not something that's going to change because I don't like it. Like that's something that I get to change to meet. And I think that that's what this passage really is kind of honing in. It's like, listen, you've got to really look to cast your stuff out before you can point out, oh, you're judging me. You know what I mean? That I don't know if that made sense, but it's like I felt very much like this is a perfect teaching and learning opportunity for me, because here it was coming at me all flowered with love and light. It was the truth. She said the truth is staying in the light, and I was like, yeah, that's what we've been up to, and I'm sorry if I led you in that direction, but the truth is having this level of clarity because you've cleaned out your own stuff. And then you can see, and then you can say, no, like this is a fact, like that's acidic, this is alkaline. So just kind of like pulling it into how these things play into our own lives. I think it's really important that we look at that, because if I look at her life, I can see, well, yeah, if you tell somebody they have to stop eating steak and drinking wine to enter the kingdom of heaven, they're going to be really pissed, and they're going to create a whole false narrative around, no. The kingdom of heaven is whatever we want it to be. And I just strongly disagree with that. I don't think it's like that. I think it's very much about us purifying ourselves so that we're worthy to sit at the right hand of the Father. I mean, that's the whole process that we're moving through right now. And so I think that, and she's like, well, I don't want to judge you because that would be projection. She went into all this kind of funny stuff. So I think it's just something to look at. Like when you cast out, when you get clear, you can see, and you can be really discerning. And that's what the Bible's asking us to do, in my humble opinion.
Beautiful stuff, guys, and it absolutely is. So we were saying so much last show that you hate the message, not the messenger, because to hate the messenger, you would have to walk a mile in their shoes. And with some of these people that we're talking about, and just think of all of the political names or these corporate head names, or even some of the backstory of Barack Obama and stuff. I wouldn't want to go near. I wouldn't want to go near a moment of what they've had to experience. So I don't want to judge. But here's the key, and this is what Justin is saying without using these words, but it's when you know better, you do better. And remember that we're all gifted with the silver cord. The silver cord connects to the golden bell. So the golden bell is the pineal gland, which is the father. The silver cord is the mother. And that connects down to the child, which is the solar plexus chakra coming through the sun. So father, mother, child. And that's the Holy Trinity within us, which is purity, which is righteousness. And that's how we intuitively know that what we're doing or not doing, or what we're listening to, is or isn't righteous. And we intuitively know these things. We instinctively know these things because they're hardwired into us. And they can't help that. That's not like God's bias. That's just creation. Here's a big one for everyone. We talked about this a little bit last week, and I'll repeat it again. There is no devil and there is no Satan. Satan is the opposition to Christ. And what Satanism is the absence of Christ. And there is no devil. Devil is the opposite to God. And what the devil is the absence of God. And that's the world that we have created, allowed to be created around us. And all of these demons have done the work because they prefer darkness. Why do you think they're underground? Because they prefer darkness. They don't want the light. They want to take the light away from us. And that's this Luciferian agenda, which is the false light out there that can be owned and controlled and regulated and taxed and ultimately even taken away, you know, with a shroud of a nuclear cloud or something, you know. Wow. So that's what the devil, and that's what Satan or Satanism is the absence of God in Christ. So what everything is Christ consciousness and God consciousness. And I was saying this to Colleen today. Consider this, everyone. Examine yourselves. Is there an infinite world of galaxies and planets out there? Just infinite, and they're enormous distances away. And so the only way that we could ever get there is in these super machines that have to be built and would cost quadrillions of dollars. And then we would have to wait for technology to come along to be even able to get past just, you know, planets in our own solar system. If that's the case, like I've said and many times before, then God's an idiot. And God's not an idiot, because if that was the case, then space is always going to be ruled over by the few. And it doesn't matter if they're righteous or not. The fact of the matter is, if it's limited just to a few who have privilege, that's not the teachings of the Bible. That's not the teachings of Christ, and that is not God at all. God does not separate. God makes everyone and gives everyone the opportunity to become the Christed one. All of us, that's our goal, that's our journey, that's our purpose. So we have to become the enlightened figure. That's how we help others, is to become the lighthouse. There's nothing higher, there's nothing better. There's no amount of money that can compensate for you becoming the lighthouse. That's all there is. That's you have to become the illuminated one, and then others look at you and they go, I want to be like that. Not like him. I want to be like that. And you go, this is how I did it. That's how I did it. So it's not about you, it's about the journey. Don't hate the messenger, hate the message, right? So that's what we stand in judgment of, is the truth or lies. And what does Jesus teach in the Bible? Truth heals us. Lies divide us. And so when I challenge someone for telling nothing but lies from their own lips, and again, this isn't even me.
Not your opinion.
Not my opinion. We've got lots and lots of stuff we could interject into all of this. We choose not to because we don't need to. What's suffice for now is just the words of others. But I'm the usurper of peace, and I am the divider with truth. Sorry, it's so easy to see. And there it was interesting because during this week, there's one person, I remember the name as being a very sort of switched on person. So I responded to the message, which was really angry for attacking a certain someone. And it was just like, you're so above all of this. This is not what you need to be doing. You need to be doing these things for us. You need to continue to do this and this. You don't need to do this. And all I responded was, you watched the evidence that was suggested? Have you? And then it was a second email, and it was kind of the same and stuff. And I said, have you watched? And then on a third email that came back, it was, I watched it. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. And I still don't think that this person is this, and this, but you have turned a light on inside of me. And I'm thankful that I had this experience, because I didn't think that this was possible, and it's possible. And that's what this is all about. So what unifies us is the truth. What divides us are lies. And so all that we're hearing of in this first section is that it's all about the message. Is it truthful or is it a lie? But again, hating and judging one another, no, we can't, because we all come from the same one Father. We all come from the same one Mother. Therefore, we all brethren. And ultimately, there's no other place to go, no matter what 107 says. There's no other place to go that's here. It's here and now.
And you can't repackage a lie and call it truth, right? There is a lie, and then there's truth. And you can't serve two masters. You have to choose one or the other. So it's just bizarre to me that people are trying to repackage what someone's saying as a truth, but it's not a truth. And therefore they can't be truth seekers because they're lying to you. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So it's really important, like Justin said, is to, the behavior is what we judge, and the person, we don't hate anybody. We're not upset at anybody, but just stop doing lies and repackage them as truth. It's just, we can't go forward. We can't get to where we need to go when that happens. So we have to call it out, no matter who does it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the way. Go ahead, Marie.
I just want to chime in, because I'm just echoing what Colleen is saying. Like, then you don't have to take it personally either. And that's a huge part of it. Everyone's taking things very personally. It's just really intense. It's like, why is everyone taking this so personally? It's because you're in your ego, and your ego is getting bruised, and it's not happy. And if we're on a spiritual journey, we should welcome these types of opportunities. This is what this is about. This is like surrendering our will for God's will, which is our perfection. And we keep trying to manipulate that. And I think that's why we're taking things so personally, when it's like, yeah, you're going to have to look at things in your life that aren't working, and you're going to have to make changes and that's a good thing. Why are we resisting that? Like, was it really working in the world? Like, really, is it working for any of us? Do you sleep at night with peace in your heart? No, I mean, we've all suffered so immensely, and this is our journey home to where suffering doesn't exist anymore. But why are we taking the suffering with us? Because we're so attached to it. We're so in love with it somehow. So that's why all of the spiritual teachings are about detachment. Like, what are you attached to? Look at that and let that go. And that's your work. That's that little intricacy that so many people are just settling for mediocrity. We're just like, well, it's not that bad. But this is about excellence. This is so much bigger than we could even imagine. And we're acting like spoiled brats. I'm sorry to say that. And I myself have done it a million gazillion times and still find myself at times resisting the truth. But it feels so much more, just you used the word earlier, Charlie, that wholeness. I feel so much more whole when I allow myself to let go of what's not serving and be uncomfortable. Like, yeah, that's okay. But it passes faster if you resist it. If you resist it, it lasts longer, and it gets more immense and just more complicated. Yeah. Yeah. So stop taking things so personally. I just want to say that. Like, if something triggers you, then be like, oh, okay, write it down. Try and figure out what it is so that you can heal that. The truth is healing, Charlie. I love that you said that. It's so healing. It's so nurturing. It so wants all of you. It doesn't want parts of you anymore in fragments. It's like we'll give it I'll give it my diet, or I'll practice yoga, or I'll read the Bible, but the rest of the day I'm a crazy person. No, it's like the whole thing, right? Yeah. It's just the relaxation from it is, yeah, please.
Yeah, well, the casting of thy net to the right what that literally means is you're all in. You've taken the totality of you, which is your net, which is 10, Adam and Eve, atum, in a tomb, all is a tomb. So that is the totality of you, and you're casting it to the right. So you're casting the totality of you to the right, which means that you're trusting in God. When you don't do that, no matter, and again, no judgment because you've been attacked from birth. Remember that from the very beginning, this is what Colleen and I have said, everything is a lie. Now, would you like to hear some truth? And we've perpetuated the lie by everything that we've done. But the first thing that came after that from Colleen and I was this. We're on the same side as you because we were part of the problem as well. Now that we do better, and that we don't just because attacked you with lies moment that were born not fair. No one who's righteous does that. Nobody. So this system is a complete lie. And so once again, constantly you're having people within our community that are struggling to accept that everything is a lie. Why would they lie about virtually everything, but not certain things and not the big ones? So once again, with the earth being, still stationary, and then there are people that will hear 107 again talk about the grains of sand, and that's all the galaxies that are out there, and all those galaxies have planets and stuff. The Genesis, the book of Genesis, the one of 66 in the Bible, is dominated by one word, and that's firmament. And the reason is because the creators of the Old Testament, the Essenes, are telling you that you are so loved and that you are so protected and that you have nothing to fear but fear itself, which we're going to hear very shortly as we progress through 7 and 8. You have nothing to fear but fear itself, and that everything has been done for you to find the Father. So this is a journey up, because intuitively we all instinctually know that the Father is in heaven and that heaven is above us somehow, somewhere, wherever that is. It's above us. At least we know we have to go up. And it's interesting because every time we climb a hill, I said this last week, you climb a hill or land on a mountaintop, you're gifted such wisdom. If you were having a bad day and someone dropped you on a mountaintop, your bad day's over. Instantly, you are so alive because you have perspective. You're the king of all you survey. When you live on the valley floor, you can't see anything. That's why we struggle all the time, because we're on the valley floor. So the only difference between, say,
I think we're on the valley floor in a bamboo forest.
So the only difference between, say, Colleen and I and the many is simply this, and anyone can do this. So once again, and Marie said, I love your words, Charlie. Well, they're Christ's words. Like literally, I say virtually nothing that is of myself. That's why I always say to you, don't send me to the altar for you or for anyone else. All I'm doing, if I did that, if I said that to you, I would not be a good person, because in that sense, I'd be ripping off. I'm pilfering all of my great stuff, all of my greatest hits. They're all being taken directly from God. They're all being taken from Jesus Christ, from all those giants that have come before us. So that's why you don't exalt me. Do not exalt the message. And that message comes all the way from the Creator. So people say all the time in the truth community, well, Charlie likes to come off holier than thou, but nobody gets it all right. And so I listen to this person, I take some from that, and I take some from this. Charlie's not saying that he's always right. What he's saying is that God is always right. And that's all we do. That's all we've done. We've just cast our nets to the right, which is we're all in. We're all in with all of this. And so when 107 comes out and talks about, it doesn't shake our gnosis, because it's not belief, it's gnosis that the earth is stationary. It can't move. It can't. It would be against everything. And so really quickly to take this back again, let me say this. I said to Colleen this morning, observe. On the outside of us, is it a skeleton? Are we lobsters and crabs with an exoskeleton? No. So that we can enjoy the physical reality and enjoy the 5 physical senses, we have sensories. And so we have skin, and we have the blood
Soft.
coursing through it, and it's soft, and so that we can experience gentle touch and love and love making, and it's beautiful and it's incredible, but it's not protected by the greatest protection in the physical realm, which is our skeleton. All of that stuff, including our blood, is above the skeleton. So you have to observe, become the observer. What is being protected? And it's not very much. I want you to think about this. There's marrow in the bones, and bone marrow is actually originating through what the colostrum does. Milk and honey colostrum, Santa Claus colostrum. And all corpuscles come from the colostrum. All new blood comes from the colostrum. So the colostrum is life, and it is involved heavily in the production of bone marrow. So bone marrow is protected inside of the bone. What else? Only the CSF, which is the cerebral spinal fluid, that goes not just in the spine, but it goes into the kingdom of heaven, which is the head. And then here, this is Venice. You see, this is Venice because your head is made up of a series of ventricles or canals. Ventricles are canals. They're waterways. They're waterways. And so there's little guys on these gondolas, you know, yeah. And they're just, you know, moving about from this canal to that canal. And then they take out their Santos Bonacci style guitar, and they serenade you with a you know, a beautiful song or something. That's what's being protected. So what is that? What is it that is in the spine that needs to come up? That's Jesus Christ. Like, I'm not kidding. That's Jesus Christ. That's what's called Christ consciousness, and that's protected. And then everything here is so incredibly well protected. And for what? There's only one thing that's inside there, which is, you know, the Ark of the Covenant is this protection. What's inside is the third ventricle of your brain. All the waterways are all around it. And there's only one, the fourth ventricle, that leads into the third ventricle, the straight and narrow path. And then that's God consciousness. That's the seed of your soul. That's your essence, which is God consciousness. So then what just by becoming the observer, what do you see? All that is truly important is Christ consciousness and God consciousness. God consciousness is here, the seat of your soul, and Christ consciousness is in the spine that needs to rise up into heaven at the right-hand side of the Father. And they're protected. That's what's protected. Except Christ consciousness can't rise without the Kundalini. And it's not a fluid, it is pure energy. It is a field, it is magnetism, and magnetism is not a circuit. It is not electricity. Electricity are just circuits that can be overloaded and blown, and you can go cuckoo when you blow a fuse from electricity. Magnetism is a field which is whole. Once you turn it on, it requires no service, and it never shuts off, and it never runs out of fuel, it never runs out of steam. It's 0 point energy. It's constantly repeating itself. The scalar wave, the number 8, is constantly repeating itself from 0 to 9. What are the numbers, right? 0 to 9. And that's it. So that's what's being protected. So it's father, mother, child. There's no other way to look at this. It's father, mother, child. What's important is family. And that's what's protected inside of you, is father, mother, child. So it's not the blood, and it's not the skin. These things come and these things go. If you take care of them, they can last forever, because all they are cells. And the cells of you are maintained by what's in here and here, what is protected. So if you do the work, and if you keep Christ consciousness risen within you at home, surrounded by the 12, with the Father and the Mother and Santa Claus, then your cells will continue to regenerate forever. That's all your skin is, it's cells. Why do we die? Scientists really struggle with this when they don't know, because it's like, well, our cells reproduce constantly so that we live all of these years. Then suddenly, why did they stop? Or like, why does our hair fall out? Well, that's pure genetics. No, it isn't. Nothing is genetics. The only thing that is genetics is your DNA. RNA is just simply a gene sequencer. So a DNA is a rough blueprint of sort of how you come out. But that's it. Everything else is epigenetics. So why does our hair fall out? Well, because, you know, my dad's hair fell out, my grandfather fell, because you're all eating poison, because you were poisoning yourself. And again, like I said, when I had
And the
that
same
experience,
stressors in their life,
same stressors, because you
behaviors they learned from each other.
from your family, you learn the same, you're taught the same way. You're taught to war the K. You're taught to work and war the K. So you're never in balance with yourself and your hair falls out. Your hair falls out because you're poisoning yourself, right? And so remember a couple of weeks ago when they were spraying our town, and I had to go out and I drove through it, and I told you I sneezed like literally for 20 minutes and hundreds or maybe 1,000 times, just sneezing. And then the next day I had like a sore throat, and I had you know, a bit of an elevated temperature. And you just go through this, you go, oh my God, it's like having a cold. And then you realize, wow, there's no such thing as a cold. That's why there's no cure for the common cold. There's just poisoning. There's just poisoning. And that's just this, do some research yourself. I just pointed you the way. Now it's up to you. Just do some research on what the effects of poisoning are, and then observe from your own experience of a flu or cold, and you're going to go, holy crap. They've been poisoning us all our lives, and they're blaming it on the common cold. Wow. Wow. That you talk about balls. These people, you have to give them credit for one thing. They're slimy rats, but they've got balls on them, because the audacity to lie like that to us in plain sight. So when we have a cold, we get these colds, right? Which we catch from, you know, going outside in the cold, and you get a cold from being outside in the cold. That's insanity, right? Don't go outside, you get a cold. That's insane. And then, or, you know, kissing, you know, it's just, wow. Or maybe because, you know, we're eating toxins and we're being poisoned to death, you know, fast or slow. So yeah, sorry, I wanted to share all that with you, because it is just so important. And then we get into this little passage, and this is very important, because once again, we get into this animals, and clearly animals are bad. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs. Neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Or what man is there of you whom, if his son ask bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he ask a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things unto them that ask him? Therefore, all things whatsoever ye that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Enter ye at the strait gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat, because strait is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few be there that find it. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, because inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits, the fruits of their labor, their past, the things from their past that they share with you in podcasts. Do men gathering grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruit shall we know them. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? In the name and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name have done many wonderful works. And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. Ugh. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon the house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. And it came to pass, when Jesus had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes.
That was awesome. Ding, 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 ding. Wow.
So much good stuff. Yeah, so
Wow.
much to unpack there.
You guys want to tackle this the dogs, pigs, or swine, the dogs and the swine again, because this is very, very important. That's not what's being said. Everything that is being said is an allegory. So what basically chapter 7, all of chapter 7, I'll say this and I'll hand it over to Justin and Marie. All of chapter 7 is an allegory between the left brain and the right brain. And this is trusting in God or letting the ego rule you. The ego is a liar and the truth is God. That's as simple as it gets. And so when you look at everything that is being said here, it is all, whom do you call Lord, Lord? Because in that day when you're looking for reprieve and you come up to Jesus and say, look, listen, dude, I ended up giving $62,581 in your name. So I damn well better get into this kingdom of heaven that you talk about. And he says, depart from me. I never knew you. So I'll pass it over to Justin and Marie, because this is the essence of everything.
Yeah, so that first verse about giving not that which is holy unto dogs, and either cast your pearls before swine. So I saw that as and it's very indicative as to what we're all kind of going through with trying to share the truth and trying to spread it. And when we come to try and force people to see the truth, often it's used against us, and often it can be turned around against us, and so it almost has to be, the way I see this at least, it almost has to be invited. We have to be we have to be shining our light and sharing with those who are ready to hear it, but not prematurely, not forcing it on anyone, not doing it in a way where it's where I'm, because if that is the case, then it ends up biting us. It ends up coming back to us in a way, and I know we've all experienced that with friends, family members, as we've tried to share truth within this. Is sometimes people just aren't ready for it, and the only thing we can do is just to continue to shine our light, and eventually, hopefully, they'll come around. But we can't go at it prematurely. We have to let free will be a part of it, and go at it at God's pace. So that's what I got out of that verse.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like that. Your pearls before swine. It feels like that sometimes. Like I'm giving you such gifts and like you're like a pig about it. I mean, I hate to say it so fiercely, but yeah, it's really intense. And I love how it goes then from there into ask and it shall be given. because I've really been feeling like that is a solid truth. I just don't think that we're often asking for the right things. And I think that we ask for things that we think we want or we need, but are not appropriate. And that's why I think we use these passages and go, well, God doesn't listen to me. And then that's not true. God's not listening to you because God knows what's good for you and you don't. And until you know what's good for you and start asking for it, then life isn't going to really work very well. Yeah.
Well, what I'll just quickly add for everyone, because this is really important about giving dogs a bad name or pigs, and so we should eat both of them because they're God doesn't like them and stuff. And no. We live in a duality, so everything is a duality. So what you need to know is that dogs are attached to cats. Cats climb high. Cats meditate. Cats are in silence. Cats, stretch before they then go out and do their activities. So cats embody the lighthouse. Cats embody the surveyor, the king of all they survey. They observe. They're silent and they observe. Dogs are kind of in our face. And so the dichotomy between this is that dogs are rooted in the left-hand path, the red shift, or the physical realm. So that's why dogs get down on their belly, on all of their fours, and so they're rubbing with the earth. And in doing so, in the physical realm, they can get dirty, and the dirtiness comes from the lies of just like they're rooting for food, but they'll eat what is presented to them. And if the food that's presented to them is a lie, then they're eating a lie because they're rooted upon their belly, upon the ground of the left-hand path. A cat is different. A cat will hunt for itself, seek its own, and they're constantly seeking to go higher and higher. Like I said, in our house, we have 18 cats, and Shani took some of the dogs, so I'm not sure what our number of dogs is now, but it's in the 20s, and so the dogs are downstairs and the cats are upstairs. It makes perfect sense. And so the same allegory and the same analogy or duality exists for swine. So the swine, which is this dirty version, greedy, dirty version of a beautiful pig, is just rooted in the mud and gets dirty in the mud because, once again, it's greedy for its food, and all four of its limbs are flat out in the mud as it consumes its food. And people don't know this, but what's connected to the swine biblically are then the sheep. And the sheep are constantly leaping, and they're looking to get high, and they climb the mountaintop, whereas the pigs stay rooted down in the valley, and the sheep climb up, and the sheep are jumping all the time because they're looking to get high. So this is this duality between the swine and the sheep in heaven versus the swine that can't see heaven. They can't see the forest for the trees because they're so greedily consuming all of this filth upon the earth. So again, they're allegories. Please just know that they're allegories. Dogs are wonderful, cats are wonderful, but they do teach us from different perspectives. Cats are teaching us from a higher perspective. Dogs are teaching us from a more rooted perspective, which is your Muladhara, your root chakra, okay? And so that's what that means. So when someone is in their root form, when someone is greedily on all fours consuming up the riches of this world, throw not your pearls, which are pearls of wisdom, right? What's the ancient saying? Pearls of wisdom. They're not talking about a strand of pearls here that,
although that works too.
For sure, because it's all allegorical in nature. But don't throw your pearls of wisdom. That's the first thing Marie said. Marie said, I feel like I'm sharing this incredible gnosis with them, and they're just not getting it. So you don't throw your pearls of wisdom before the gluttonous swine who's on all fours consuming the Mother Earth, instead of loving the Mother Earth, instead of worshiping the Mother Earth and seeking to rise up like the sheep to heaven through the Mother Earth. and because they won't hear it, they won't get it. And in fact, like as we continue reading, they'll actually turn against you, because what you're doing is you're threatening their covetous nature. So they are in sin and you are in righteousness. And when you cast your righteousness upon the sinners, be careful, because you're interrupting them from their greedy, covetous nature.
But sinning is just to miss the mark.
That's right.
It's just, you're just missing the truth. You're missing the mark, and your behavior is taking you down the wrong path. So that's all sinning is.
Godless. Sinning is godless.
Sin in Latin is to
sin in Latin is without. It's interesting because the two words that are connected in Latin are sin and con. Con, which has been turned into a really bad word, like con men and a con game and stuff. Con means with, and the literal etymology of con is with God, and sin is without God. What is the sin? It's without God. What is con? With God. And they've turned con into a bad word, and they've created sin into a sexy goddess of Babylon. And oh, she looks good, and I could be tempted in her little, skimpy red underclothing, or whatever. And that's what they do. They just turn this ride upside down on us all the time. So I really wanted to just clarify that for everyone about animals. There's no hatred of animals. There's no eating of animals. That's why in Genesis 1:29, the food shall be the fruit and the vegetables, or the plants that are growing these things, and their seeds. And that's it. That's what you do. That's what the food is. And then it doesn't teach it again. It tells you in Genesis, everything else is being a greedy beast, 666, or you are that of a man, which is the risen 666, because 6 plus 6 plus 6 in the risen form is 18, and 1 and 8 is 9, which is divine. So there's 666 in the fallen form, which is a beast, a swine, or a dragon, or a ravenous beast, or a wild dog, or something like that. That's what this is relating to, okay? It's not, there's nothing in the Bible that tells you, and we're going to get to a passage quite soon here about Jesus sitting down to meet with his disciples, and then the disciples of John saying to Jesus, why do your disciples consume meat and fast not, when we the disciples of John are constantly fasting? And then Jesus says, because when you are in the presence of the Son of Man, then your cup runneth over, and you consume the meat as much as you can consume it while you have it, because soon I will not be with you, and then you shall see the disciples of Christ. You shall see them fast, and fast a lot. And so what he's saying is that when the truth is present, then you consume the truth as much as you can get, as fast as you can get, because when the truth is taken away from you, you shall be fasting. You shall be fasting, because that's the thing. For that brief period of time when this ascended master was with us and was teaching us, that is the mete, that is the meat. The meat is mete, which is manna from heaven. It's not food, it's not bread, it's not meat, it's not killing an animal, it's thought of God. That's what manna is. The gift of God is the perfect, righteous thought of God. So take no thought. Take no thought. So again, when the disciples of John who don't get it, because John is baptism of water. So that is the cleansing of the lies of the physical world, but not connecting what is above, not connecting to what is above. So they don't see this importance of fasting where John and his followers are fasting here, right? They're fasting here. Jesus and his followers are fasting in Solomon's temple. That's where you have to fast. This is what the 40 days of Lent is. And I meant to say it earlier and I didn't, so let me just reiterate it now. So on January 6th, when President Trump gave us that beautiful speech and then departed, and all hell broke loose after that, that essentially is this desert. And your home right now is being built upon sand, and the tempest is upon us, and it's going to wash away everything that you've ever held, dear to you, because you built your home upon the sand. They have no foundations, and a foundation is truth, by the way. So you have no truth in the desert. And what is your pineal gland when you don't use it? It's essentially like grains of sand. What's your pineal gland when you activate your pineal gland? It's a crystalline structure in the shape of a diamond. That is the most solid substance known to man. That is the solid rock. You build your home on the activated pineal gland, not the deactivated pineal gland, which is a desert. And then no tempest will ever find you, and no moth will eat away at thy treasures. And no rainfall will cause oxidation upon your treasures. No thief will be able to get onto your solid rock and take your treasures. Can't happen there. That's what the real treasures of this world is here, which is the activated pineal gland. So that's why the followers of John the Baptist weren't getting this. Why aren't they fasting of this food, of this manna? And Jesus is saying, because I am here now. They need to be consuming the fish of Pisces as fast as they can get it, because Aries is fast approaching, and they don't quite know yet what's going to happen to me on Aries, but they're going to soon find out, and then they shall be fasting for sure. So while you have me, then you take advantage. You take advantage of this. So mete is manna, and manna is perfect thought from God. Take no thought for your life. That's what's being said here. Back over to Justin and Marie.
Yeah, incredible. Thanks for that. So just moving on to the next passage, or the next segment here about asking, and you'll find, seeking you'll find, and knocking the door will be opened unto you. I see that as an allegory towards the fornix, and that's completing that process and having that God's chamber open. But it's also just in general, and we talked about last week as far as praying. This is not coming out and asking God to give you, pleading with God and asking to get stuff. This is having that listening approach of I'm ready, I'm here, and doing the work, throwing that commitment out there and saying, I'm ready to receive the gifts and receive the message, but I'm not pleading for it. So just wanted to clarify that. And then it just continues to go into just more discussion. I mean, even last week in chapter 6, we talked about, consider the lilies and consider the birds. They don't ask for things and they're given. So why should you? And this just kind of reiterates that, how, if we're good, of course we're gonna, if we're righteous, of course we're gonna receive everything that we need. We don't have to plead for that. Of course we're gonna receive that. So yeah, just have faith in that. And this is, yeah, so that's what I got out of that second segment for sure. Marie, you got anything?
I have so many things. You got anything? I got a lot of things. Things are thoughts. So I got a lot of them. There's a couple I wanted some feedback on from you guys, like, and not to go back to this because we've talked about it, but I just would like if you could offer me some clarification. Like, it seems that we tend to throw our pearls onto swine often, though. Like it seems that we're doing that. We don't mean to be. I think what I'm learning from this is that it's you keep sharing the truth with authority because you have it, because you're doing the work, because you can see clearly, you've cleared out some things. And if it does happen to fall on swine, don't get distracted by that. Just keep going. That's what I'm taking from it. It's not that I'm just going to be quiet now and not say anything, because it seems like every time I say something, it upsets somebody these days. So at this point, it's like I have two choices. Either I just stop talking or I keep just going away in that direction as it's coming at all of us, have experienced that. So I just really appreciate that, I know I'm skipping ahead, but just speaking as one having authority, and your gnosis not getting shaken really resonated with me earlier. Like, it doesn't get shaken by other people's discomfort or other people's perceptions. It's like, what you know, and no one can take that from you because your house is built on a rock. And as everybody else is crumbling, it seems like they're kind of grasping. It's like Jacob's ladder, like we're climbing, like we're going, and we're over there going, keep going. And they're like, no, don't, you're bad, don't keep going. And you're like, I have to go. That's what this is. That's life. I mean, that's what this is about. So I'm going to keep going. But yeah, there's a lot of false prophets, and they do come in sheep's clothing. Wow. And inwardly they are ravening wolves. And wow, haven't we all had experiences of being like, sure, come on in, knowing, but the intuition is something too, because there's always a moment of intuition and Justin and I, we were talking about this week. Like I knew things, but I think on this journey, we're also learning how to trust ourselves, really. And it's not ourself, it's our Christed nature that you said to me earlier this week, Justin, never lies. It doesn't lie. I've been taught to lie, so I'm still unsure, I'm not 100% there yet, and how I'm learning how to trust that information. But, they are ravening wolves, man. There are so many of them. And it seems to me that, trusting the fruits is a really important passage here. Like, you'll know a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Like, that for me has been so potent my entire life, because I've always felt like I've always been misunderstood, or someone misintuited what I did as something bad. And I think we do this to children too. It's like, don't do that. And we get mad, but they're just curious. They're just playing. They don't know it's not good to pour orange juice on the ground. They think it's hilarious. So we're the ones with the problem. But I think this is happening a lot. It's happening. It's happening where we need to learn how to trust ourselves and our purity of heart and our fruits, and that they're good. And unless we do that, we're always going to resist the people that are doing that. And then the people that are doing that, we're going to be like, well, how are you speaking with such authority? But it's like, and we're not scribes here. We're not just reinterpreting things and spewing out information. We're sharing our experience of life, and an experience is something that's in you. No one can take that away. And it just feels to me that, we've got to be extra careful these days, but we have to keep going forward and trust that our fruit is good, no matter what anyone says about it. Like, I think that I've spent a lot of my life concerned about what other people thought about my fruit. It's like, look, my fruit's good. I know it's good. I'm doing the best I can. I've certainly made mistakes, but my core is good, not evil. And I think that so many of us are needing to rework that. There was a quote that I heard once that said, many of us think we're angels playing at devils. No, we're devils playing at angels, but really it's the opposite. We are angels playing like devils. We are angels. And that's the truth of who we are. And that's what all of us, I think, are trying to embody as best we can, and to share that. And maybe we say things that hurt other people's feelings, but I think if we keep living our lives based on everybody's, kind of false happiness and their feelings, and coddling each other, we're not going to get to where we need to go, which we all know is really important that we do. Please.
You had just said everybody's getting triggered and being offended. When you know thyself, and that's the one thing that can be mistaken as arrogance, or when you know thyself and you aren't thrown off by somebody else's opinion of you or their words. People say, oh, you're arrogant, you're just an a-hole, and you're a narcissist, and on and on. And that can be true, because we're talking about the ego here. But when you know thyself, you're not thrown off by other people's opinions or anything like that. So that's really important to understand. And when we are triggered so easily by what someone else thinks of you, that's ego, right? And so that is just a really great opportunity for you to go, I feel triggered. It's my ego. Why do I feel wounded? What do I believe about what that person said about me, right? And it's like, so I need to do more work to build myself. And it's just such a great opportunity. So there is a lot of that going around, but it's just because we're in such a state, we've been put into such a compromising position all our life. And now we're just being triggered in response to everything that's happening to us, as opposed to knowing thyself and being strong. And so, yeah, and we need those role models sometimes to show us what that's like to just know thyself, because I can forget. But when I
Yeah,
remember, what an amazing feeling that is when you remember, and no matter what anybody thinks of you, and you're not triggered anymore, and then it's not personal, right?
Yeah.
It isn't personal because it isn't about you, and you know that it's their stuff, it's their projection. So
Yeah.
that's just one thing I wanted to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, beautifully said. I mean, that's we've been trained to build our house on the sand. We've been trained to build our foundation on this unstable ground that can be easily washed away and pulled out, have the rug pulled out from under us. And that's why, within the conversations we've been having the past week or so, or however long it's been, and people calling for like unity and calling for, we can't be divisive, we can't be calling out this kind of stuff because what could it do to the community and all this kind of stuff. It's like, well, if we don't build our foundation on the rock, if we don't build our foundation on the truth, if we don't build our foundation on God, then we're just going to be susceptible to washing away at the first breeze, at the first storm, the first tempest that comes by. We're just going to be washed away and completely divided, completely scattered, completely just decimated. So if we don't hold solid onto that rock, onto the truth, onto that foundation, then we're doomed. We're doomed. And so we have to get really, really clear. No matter how many people fall away from wanting to build their house on that rock, it's okay. If you don't want to build your house on the rock, that's okay. But I'm going to build my house on the rock, and the straight and narrow path is very few traveled. And there aren't many people there, and that's okay. Sorry, go
And can
ahead.
I say one more thing?
Yeah.
And so then it becomes a choice. I can stay and help others when I know thyself. I can stay and help others. And they call that the bodhisattva or something. Or we can have a breakaway society because I don't want to build my house on the sand and you do. So I can't build my community on the sand. I'm sorry, I have to break away and I have to go find a solid truth, a solid rock to build my place. So then that's not unity either. But we can't stay in the swamp and build our homes. So there has to be a division, and there is a division, right? It's between right and left, and so you can't ride in the middle. You can't stay. I mean, the middle way is where you need to be, but that's balance, and it isn't just pretending that you're a right-handed person when you're living in the left.
No, unity consciousness, or this connection through unity, is connected to God. So that's not the hands of man. See, everything that we read to you, and I was just speechless because it's just so evident and so clear. All of chapter 7 is saying to you that the works of the hands of man are specious, and they will come crashing down. Not a single stone will be left standing, but the kingdom of heaven is eternal. And where are you going to build your home? Are you going to build your home on the hands of man and be decimated? Deca is 10. Again, 10 again, because within the physical form, that's our number of completion, which is Aten, which is Adam, which is atom, and atom, which is our cells, which are atoms, which contain the photon light within it, which is Adam, and Eve, which is in a tomb, which is atum. All is a tomb. So that's how you become decimated, is by the works of man. So, and when some man calls you out and they can destroy your world just with a few words, then what world did you really have? Was that a world worth wanting to rebuild? Was that a world worth remembering? If somebody can come along with a few words and destroy your world, then I would humbly suggest that you didn't build much of a world for yourself. And this is this whole allegory and analogy between thinking for ourselves, left brain, and allowing the righteousness and perfection of God to think for us by taking no thought. And that is the kingdom of heaven in the right brain.
Because God teaches you magic, magnetic. We are magic. And when they take that away and they say, no, the magic's out there, it isn't you, then you fall every time someone says something negative.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We're the magic unicorn.
Yeah, we are. And by the way, folks, again, you know how I always teach what electricity is. Electricity is a transverse wave, which can be seen as an ocean wave. And it goes around and around and around and around and around. But what only the surfers get is that there's an exit, that there's a tube, there's a magic chimney inside the wave. And if you ride the pathway that is straight and very narrow inside of a wave, then you can exit to the right, which is the moksha. And so I would suggest that most surfers are very, very spiritual beings, because what they're doing constantly is playing life out in every single wave. And what do virtually all surfers will tell you is that a great wave, a perfect wave or a great wave will come every seventh wave. Every seventh wave, there will be another great wave to catch. You got to catch the ride, and you got to go on this ride, which is a journey, the seventh wave, which is God intervention. And then they go down the funnel, and the funnel is a tunnel, which could be called a chimney, and it's filled with presents. There's loads of presents, and if you make it all the way through, then you are the illuminated Christmas tree at the end of it, because you've reached presents by going through. So again, in a single wave, which is the allegory of man, rolling and rolling and go around and around and again, and then we have this violent life of 50 or 60 years, and we cast ourselves upon the sand and violently, very quickly, and then we wash back again until the breath of God breathes life back into us, and then the wave continues again. Okay, but remember, in every oscillating wave, there's a chimney and a door to the right, which is the moksha, and that is getting out. That is getting out, and the goal is. The goal to all of this is to exit the gate that is broad and spacious. So,
and where we go one, we go all.
Where we go with God, like where we go one, we go all, is not lowering to the common, to the most common denominator. So I'll just share with you that last night Colleen was really kind of struggling again with 107's. Latest presentation, and this was the second one in just a few days, with the Prime Minister of Beef and whatever, I can't remember what the names were, but the two of them, and in it, Juan was just saying things like, so if you're in Kansas City, it's steak, and if you're in Texas, it's steak, and if you're in Louisiana, it's barbecued spare rib stuff, and then what we should be doing is having lots and lots of kids, and then it's our job to populate all of those galaxies that are out there. We got to populate all of those worlds that are out there with more and more kids and stuff. And it's like, this is a smorgasbord of idiocy. Sorry, but it is. And like I said to everyone, I mean, the best that I can make of this is that playing the role. Playing the role of leading us into the desert, and we're lost, and that the only way out of this is to for once and for all is to cast our net to the right and commit to God. I mean, that's what chapter 7 is saying, that works of the hands of man are false, they are lies, and that's what divides. And what it's saying is that when you trust in God, that unifies, that heals. And that then when you build your home that cannot be touched by any tempest upon this mighty rock, then everyone looks at you, and the many look at you, because there will only be few, and they'll look at you and they'll go, I want that. And that's what we do. That's how we teach. We teach by doing the work, okay? And so Marie was saying in that passage, and she wanted some clarification. She's talking about, the fruits of thy labor, and a rotten tree will only produce rotten fruit. It cannot be expected to produce good fruit, and that thou shalt be judged by the fruits of thy labors. So again, I've never been put in a situation to procure underage children for anyone. I did not provide ever. Have I ever provided anything for Jimmy Savile? If I ever came in contact with Jimmy Savile and knew what he was about, I would probably end the guy, because it's just pure evil. It's just pure evil, and there's no life or live in evil. Evil is the opposite of to live, and so we have to get rid of the evil. So I didn't do those things, and I have a son, but my son's name and address is not on TikTok. I wouldn't put my worst enemy's child's name on TikTok. I didn't do any of these things. And again, I have no channels, I have no subscribers, and it's beautiful. It's perfect. It just is the way that it is right now. And I'm not claiming to have, 17 or 10 million and 17. I'm not saying or doing any of these things. We serve you for free. We serve the animals around us, no questions asked, for free. And that's how we do. So when you judge by the fruits of one's labors, this is what we need to do. But you see, if you're invested into someone, if you've bought into the messenger instead of the message, then you see, you will not see the fruits of their labors. And so this is what Marie's talking about in terms of these wrongful fruits, or these sort of rotten fruits that come from rotten labors. That this is how we are measured, and this defines us. This is our life. And if you just simply see that there is a pathway of these rotten fruits in your life, then that makes you a rotten messenger. Okay? And it's really that simple. It is absolutely that simple. So when this is the whole problem in the world of the physical realm and in the world of man, who to trust, who not to trust, and whatnot.
Just finished.
Listen to the message. Don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in the messenger. Focus upon the message. And is the message pure, or is it rotten to the core? Okay, this is what we're talking about. And so if for example, if 107 is saying moving forward that where we go one, we go all, means that we have to take the worst of us and we have to drag them along with us. And then so we all have to lower our standards. Hey man, that was public school. And I skipped school as much as I could because it was a wasteland, because that's all that school was. The school was for all those kids that were turned on and wanted to learn and could grasp what was being said and wanted to do amazing things. They were all held back purposefully so that the many who were not paying attention, who were easily distracted, so that those many could be dragged along and they could get C- and Ds with a passing grade so that everyone could, move forward. So all that sentimentality does is it holds back the greatness or the meretricious aspect of our very nature. We have to allow people to express their genius in whatever form that is, and we have to let them be the light of this world. We have to let them shine and shine and shine. But the system that has been created has been designed to take those people who want to shine and no, you can't, because you know, you're putting down all these people who can't shine. Yes, they can. They choose not to shine. And so if moving forward, if their interpretation of where we go one, we go all is that we have to drag all these people who don't want to come with us and who don't want to do the work and who don't care about really anything except their own misery, then that's not something to be a part of. Where we go one is God. Where we go one, we go all. One and all, right? That's the key to this, is one and all. And who's the one and all? Is God. Where we go one, we go all. And what is God? God is creation, and God's creation is the truth. All that matters is the truth. So if moving forward, this plan is that we need to continue to lie people and tell them that there are endless worlds out there, and the only way to get there is through some spaceship that, you know, an evil corporation will build, and you know, you can go there if you agree to be a minion for them on their ship and follow their protocols, then we're lost. And if it means moving forward that we have to continue to kill animals to feed ourselves with poison, and so then all of our hair falls out, I don't want any part of that. I don't want any part of that. The thing that Marie is saying, the thing that Justin is saying, and what we're teaching every single day is this: once you know better, you do better. And once you know the truth, you only want to practice the truth. So asking the likes of us to go back and say, come on, Charlie, stop being so hard on everyone. And you know, we got to bring everyone along with us. So let's just tone down the righteousness a little, and let's tone down the truth a little bit, and let's embrace this alien business a little bit here, and that people come in to save us, because we have to bring people along. I'm sorry, that's not right. There's no wisdom in that. And the thing is you're not going to gain anyone. We're going to spend 20, 30, 40, 50 years dragging these people along, and they're never going to get it. And they're never going to experience the truth. The only way change will come is if we tell the truth. That's all that matters, is the truth. Matthew chapter 7, from beginning to end, is saying that truth is all that matters. And when we are the righteous tree and we bear righteous fruit, it's because we are basking in truth. We live the truth, and that's the righteous tree. And the rotten tree that bears rotten fruit are lies. Everything about chapter 7 and 8 that we're going to get into is exactly this. So let me pass it back. And Marie has a very special guest that has joined us as well. So it's wonderful to see Amber. We love you so much. Love all you guys.
Remembrancer.
Aloha.
It's all happening right now.
Please respond to all of that, guys, if you would like. Yeah.
I think it speaks to what we were saying before, you know, trust your intuition. And I think that it's about continuing to go inside and listening to your guts and listening to your heart, and making sure that you're not putting all your faith outside you. I mean, I think all of us, if we were really honest, ask ourselves, how do I feel about this? We already knew what was going to happen a few months ago. It's just happening right now. So here it is. And we're at choice on how we respond. And I think what you're saying, Charlie, is just to keep moving is really important. It's the ladder business. It's like, we've just got to keep going. And nurturing, I think, the relationships of the people that we can communicate with, that we're feeding each other and we're lifting each other up. And we're not coddling each other's fears and each other's egos. Like I say to him all the time, I'm like, if you see something, tell me. Like, I want you to tell me things. Like, you know, call my ego out. This is what this is about. I want to know. And that's a beautiful thing. Should we go into chapter 8, or Justin, where do you want to go from here?
Well, I was just going to say really quickly, I mean, it's the time of choosing. Like, this is the time of harvest. This is not the time to sit on the sidelines. This is not the time to say, oh, well, we'll just let it all play out and do whatever, because it's that's not how this creation was set up, and we can't really, just based on our selfish intentions or our egoic desires, try and steer the trajectory of this whole experience, this whole collective design, this grand design that we're a part of. We have to truly understand this cyclical nature of this period that we're entering. We're entering a new era, and part of that is the choosing. It's the reckoning. It's that harvest time where we have to make a very clear choice, and you know, the choice is yours, and the repercussions and the rewards are built right into it. You know, it's very clear, and this book is very clear on that. So get clear yourself, because there's no one else. No one else can choose for you. No one else is going to come in and save you and choose for you. There's not going to be any blue aliens or even Jesus personified is not going to come back and hold your hand through this. It's you. It's you. You have to make this choice. You have to be the one that's righteous, and you have to be the one that says, "I'm casting my net to the right, and I'm not choosing any." And that's 100% of the time. And that's not to say we can't make mistakes. There are certainly mistakes. There are certainly things we can learn from, but it's all about the intent. God knows your intent. Everything's all about intent. So if your intention is to do better, if your intention is to cast your net to the right, then that's it. That's you're doing it. So don't beat yourself up if you make mistakes. Don't beat yourself up if you get things wrong, or if we follow someone who was lying to us, or if we follow something that was incorrect. That's okay. Just have that intent to move forward. Leave the past behind. Be present and move forward, and just have that intent that I'm going to continue doing that. I'm going to continue following that righteous path, and continue going down that straight and narrow path. Regardless of how many are with me, because it's written right here very plainly. I can't expect to have too many on that path. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to be, few and far between. But that's what we're here to do. We're here to choose. So choose.
Yeah, but choose wisely. And again, folks, you always judge by the fruit of your labors. And you're not going to bite into a rotten apple. You simply won't. You'll allow the rotten apple to do what it's designed to do, which is to create another tree. Allow the seeds, and then the essence of that apple to then fertilize that seed so that another tree will come out of it. So that is dark to light, by the way, but you don't eat it. You eat the righteous fruit, and you would know the righteous fruit by again all of your physical senses, and of course through your intuition. But you have to be awake to be able to see it. So if you're all in with the messenger instead of the message, you can you can justify anything. That's the left brain. That's the ego, which is facts, figures, and logic. Facts, figures, and logic can justify anything. Facts, figures, and logic can justify a world war, right? Had to happen. It's terrible, but it had to. That's insane. That's insane. That's what your left brain is. Your left brain is literally insanity personified. That's what it is when you cast thy net to the left, because you're slumming it. And when I hear those words from 107, and I would assume that he's playing a role, because we're fully out in the desert, right? Everyone's looking for a Moses to lead them to the Red Sea so they can part the Red Sea and come to the land promised to them that's flowing with milk and honey. But we're out here. So I would assume that that's what 107 is doing. But I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. Rotten fruit is rotten fruit. And that's, if Colleen plays something for me, that's basically all I'm hearing these days. I'm just hearing rotten fruit after rotten fruit. That's not what we need. That is not what we need at all. We need righteousness. And that righteousness is that desire to do right for others, for everyone in every single moment. Again, if all you ever did was care about all of God's creation, and you live to serve God's creation, I swear to you, you will be the most wealthy individual that you could possibly ever imagine. Wealth will flow to you when you become the shepherd. Why was Krishna a cowherder? Why is Jesus known as the shepherd, the shepherding the sheep, and trying to get them to wear the mark of 144 upon the mountaintop. And then, and then they have the mark of God upon their brow. That's what this is all about. It's shepherding those to this path. And 144 is not a big number. It's not a big number. 144,000 is not a big number. And that's because this path is straight and it is narrow. So yeah, I wanted to share all of that. And Amber, do you want to share some thoughts? I'm not sure how much of this you've heard, but if you have some thoughts, please, we'd love to hear them.
Absolutely, yeah, I'd be honored to. I just want to clarify that the reason I'm here visiting Marie is not only just to help her through her transition, but I was also talking with Santos, and I'm here looking for the land where we can create the seminary of syncretism, to have a world school. And in all of this confusion and so many sources of information, what I keep coming back to personally, because I'm looking into all these things too, is what is timeless? And how can we look to what is timeless to see what will succeed in these tests of time? And how can we fold this into a curriculum that is going to empower children and not have their skill sets be outdated by technology? And so what I keep coming back to in all this is, what are we building and what are we growing? What are we building and what are we growing? Because as long as we're not building and as long as we're not growing, we are going to be dependent on those who are doing that. And in this passage about, look at the birds, they want not, for they are provided for. It's also important to realize those birds are doing work, they're spreading seeds. And, how many of us are saving our seeds? This was one thing when I was in Nicaragua, it was kind of revolutionary in the community, is just not throwing away seeds, saving them. They are so valuable. You're looking at something that has infinite potential and potence within it. And so I just invite us all to think about, what do we want to learn and what do we want to teach our children? And what I've kind of come to is these timeless skill sets are permaculture, eco-construction, second language, symbolic literacy, which is what a lot of this is about today, and the doctrine of signatures. And for those who don't know, the doctrine of signatures looks at how the characteristics in plants mimic our biology and behavior. So beet juice is blood red. It chelates the calcium deposits that helps the blood flow better. You cut a carrot, it looks like an eye. It has the vitamin A that the eye needs. Walnut looks like the brain. It has the omega fatty acids that the brain needs. There's also a specific kind of plant that will ripen and then droop over. And that's good. It makes a good tea for people who are epileptic and they droop over. So it gets very nuanced and very just kind of astounding, this doctrine of signatures. And what I'd really like to do is, and see other people do, is build gardens in the shape of a human being and place them where those plants have their respective benefit to the human organism, so that we can just have children passively absorbing the gnosis of their anatomy, and then ultimately seeing how the myth, which we could also see this text we're seeing as a myth, that myth is the math of our body. Math, you. This is the mathematics of you. Nice. All is number. Nice. That, everything we're reading here has a specific numerology, and Charlie points that out. I loved how you pointed out that each first chapter it's 1-1, which is 11, the master builder number. It's so beautiful. So as we get into this math of you and parlay that into these algorithms of permaculture, construction, second language, symbolic literacy, and doctrine of signatures, and more, I'm excited to share and build on that. I'm just looking forward to building a foundation that will stand the test of time and empower us with skills that will never be outdated.
Nice. Good stuff, right? Wow. Matthew.
It's just absolute truth. It's absolute truth. Time stands still when you're in the presence of God, because there is no such thing. There is no such thing as linear time. It is a shell game designed to take you away out of the only thing that can possibly exist, which is the moment. So again, everything that Amber is saying is just truth. So what we have to do is we have to be truthful, but you see, we have to be truthful. This isn't about finding a savior that's going to come and be truthful and then he can do all the work and figure everything, all the shit out for us. No, we have to do this ourselves. This is how we live our life. And then,
R-E.
this is RE versus DE. And this is, everything we're talking about today. And this is what Justin was saying, it's what Maria is saying, is that how do we become righteous in every moment? Cast thy net to the right, which means that your net is you, is the essence of you. When you cast it, you're all in. So that's the thing. You have to get to a point. In the Batman movie, in the third one, we watched it the other night because I put all of that together in my head about this basically the story that anyone, but essentially John F. Kennedy Jr. would have had to have gone through. Batman Begins, Batman The Dark Knight. When you go undercover and you live in their world, then you're tempted. That's all you see is that evil, and then that evil is preying upon you because that becomes your reality. And then the final movie, he fails because he's lost the eye of the tiger. He's lost his purpose. He's lost his way. He's lost the fact that he's there to serve no matter what. And then there's no ending to this. It's just, it's ongoingness. And so he falls.
He lost his
and
love.
Yeah, that's right. And then so this new character, Bane. What is Bane? Is kryptonite, right? So that's his kryptonite, is because Bane is powerful now, and Batman was powerful then, and so the now always defeats the then, and so he's broken, literally broken into pieces, and then he's cast down into this pit of hell where there's no getting out of. How does he get out of it? Every time he tries with the rope, which is security, he fails. And then he realizes that the only way out is on a leap of faith.
Yay.
And that he has to know that he will make this, because he has to make this. And the reason that he has to make this is because the scourge of scourge, hell upon earth, is going to destroy everything, and he simply cannot be a party to that, and neither can any of us. And that's the thing I want to share with all of you. In that moment, we would all make that leap. We will all make that leap, because everybody wants you to make that leap. The rocks, the roots sticking out between the rocks that are in the cave, God, the air, the ether, everything wants you to make that leap, but you have to make that leap out of knowingness. If you have doubt, a single doubt, like in the Star Trek episode again, where the gunfight at the OK Corral, if you think those bullets are real, you will die. You have to know. So Spock says, they will not harm me because I know those bullets aren't real. But we can't be as sure as you, Spock. What's that right brain of yours? We just all can't be so sure, Spock. And it's like mind meld. What is the mind meld? Two worlds becoming one, which is unity consciousness. So that's all that Spock is through these nerve endings, is two worlds becoming one. And then they just stand there, and all of these bullets, all of these words, all of these arrows that are slung. Charlie Freak, how dare you? So what? He procured children for Jimmy Savile on Top of the Pops, and they were underage, and now they want restitution from him. So what? He puts his child front and center on TikTok, which is the most notable pedophilia site in the entire world. Come on, what's wrong with you? Why are you creating this division? Like Justin said, if the truth community is what it appears to be, which is built on a pit of sand, a pit of despair, then good riddance to it and everything within it. Because if it cannot withstand the truth, then there is no value in any of this, and we have to start all over again. But this time, let's start on that solid rock. And solid rock, which is the activated pineal gland, is truth, because that's the gateway to God. And God is the creator, and creation is truth. Sorry, you can't have it two ways. What did Buddha write about in the sutras? Everything he said was, you get in alignment with what is. What is of the physical is the mother. What is of the metaphysical is the father. You can either get in line with that and soar, or you can fight against it your entire life, and you will die penniless of both the mind and body. So it's your choice. That's exactly what this is about. You have to get in alignment with the truth. And if you think you've got your own truth in there, well, you're on that path that is broad and is spacious, and it leads to destruction every single time. You must paint the blood of the perfect lamb upon your brow. And that number is 144. And that number is a frequency. Amber comes on and Amber says, symbology and, this symbolic detection. And 144, that's your frequency. You got to get to that frequency 144. And that's 9, which is divine. And you got to climb to get to the 9. So, Justin.
Perfect. Yeah. Are we ready to move on? I can read chapter 8.
Go.
Let's do this. All right. So I'm just going to read the whole thing through. So chapter 8. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And behold, there came a leopard and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Jesus put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus saith unto him, See thou tell no man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded, for a testimony unto them. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus saith unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the selfsame hour. And when Jesus was come unto Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid and sick of a fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she arose and ministered unto him. When the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that were sick, that it may be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses. Now when Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave commandment to depart unto the other side. And a certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. And Jesus saith unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. And another of his disciples said unto him, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. But Jesus said unto him, Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead. And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him, and behold, there arose a great tempest of the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And he saith unto them, Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds of the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? And when he was come to the other side into the country of Gergesenes, there met him 2 possessed with devils coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? And there was a good way off from them an herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said unto them, Go. And then when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled and went their ways into the city, and told everything and what was befallen to the possessed of the devils. And behold, the whole country came out to meet Jesus. And when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coasts. Yeah, a lot going on there. You muted, Charlie.
Yeah, sorry about that. A ton going on there. And again, it's a continuation of what was we were just talking about and being said. But again, leprosy, and we talked about this briefly last week again, why so many lepers in the Bible, because leprosy is this perfect righteous reward for those who live godless and who live solely of the left-hand red shift physical material plane path, which is that your entire world is misunderstood, that everything is built upon a vast plane of sand and is basically every tempest that comes along can tear everything you have down once again. And that's why most people in their lives just experience it up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, because every single time somebody comes to them and criticizes them, or they have an experience where they didn't get the recognition, or they didn't get what they want, or they didn't earn what they thought they needed, then everything destroys their reality. And they are cast down again and again and again. And so when Jesus saith unto he with leprosy that was cleansed, he said, see thou tell no man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto them. So once again, in selflessness, not looking for any reward in any way, Jesus says, see that ye tell no man, but go thy way. Show thyself to the priest who does not know anything about miracles, does not know anything about the truth, and offer to this priest the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto them. And that is the 10 Commandments. And the 10 Commandments essentially represent this path that is straight and narrow, which is based upon truth, which is our testimony. So the testicles of which this life force comes through us is this ultimate source of life, which is creation, which is truth within us. And so this is what we then go forward, go thy way, and what you do is you share the truth through your testimony from your testicles. And Jesus, when he entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion beseeching him. So again, Capernaum is this community that is at the very top of the Sea of Galilee, the top of the circuit. So this is high upon the physiology of the Holy Land. Dead Sea, sacrum in the south, the Jordan River, the spine, up to the circuit of the skull, which is Galilee, which is the head, and then Capernaum referencing going high. So going high within himself. So high within himself, there came to him a centurion, one who served others and had power unto others. And Jesus responds so lovingly and positively and uses him as a great example to others, because he is saying that although this is someone who has been indoctrinated into usurping the power of others, here comes one in utter humility, but not just humility, but in complete faith and trust in the power of God. because by accepting Jesus Christ, you're accepting thy Father. And that's what this is all about. And then you will do greater things than Jesus, but only through Jesus working within you. That's how all of this works, but you will do greater things. So it's absolutely beautiful. And I also wanted to comment here in 811, and it says, I say unto you that that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. And what do we know about all of Abraham and Isaac, Isaac, and Jacob? They all had this journey. I mean, Isaac's crisis was, when Abraham was on the mountaintop and was about to strike him with a deadly blow, testing his faith. Again, that is an allegory. It's not a literal event. But once again, everyone that you see there, and in particular Abraham and Jacob, these are the ones who went on this journey. No questions asked. They knew they had to do it. And they didn't meet anyone along the way, because on that path that is straight and narrow, there's not a lot of people along that way. And then they had to wrestle their demons in the desert. They had to, and they showed tenacity, and that they wouldn't quit and they wouldn't stop, and that they were bestowed. And so what was bestowed upon them was the promised land that is flowing with milk and honey, and that their sons. And that's what you're seeing coming to pass, because the son of Abram and Sarai, who becoming Abraham, the breath of God, and Sarah, the breath of God, was the child Isaac, or in Hebrew, or Isaac, which is happiness. And again, the happiness secretion that comes from the all-powerful gland, which is the pituitary gland inside the third ventricle of the Holy Trinity within us, is serotonin. So the pituitary gland, which is known as the sacred feminine, you could see then Abraham as being pineal, and you could see Sarah as being the pituitary gland, pineal and pituitary, honey and milk. And that coming through this leap of faith and this trusting in God comes happiness, which is Isaac. And isn't it interesting to note that what does the pituitary gland produce for us physically that gives us balance and therefore long, potentially eternal life, if it's mixed with the melatonin from the pineal gland and the dopamine from the hypothalamus, and that is serotonin. So Sarah, Abraham and Sarah, and the pituitary gland produces serotonin, and it's known as the happiness secretion. And her son was Isaac in Hebrew, which means happiness. So all of this is simply, once again, a perfect allegory of that which is required. And that which is required is again this leap of faith that I'm all in, casting thy net to the right. And of course, it all has to be, because every single verse and every single chapter, we're getting closer to Aries, a man arising. So we have to have this process of gaining wisdom through Pisces, which is what all of this is about. So there's a lot more to go over, but I'll just pass it back over to you guys for now. But I just wanted to get that essence across.
Yeah, so a couple of things jumped out at me. In verse 4, when Jesus said to the leper after he healed him, "See that thou tell no man, but go thy way and show thyself to the priest and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto them." So I see that as not like our path, our journey is between us and God. It's not for us to go out and showcase to all around and to like I see the priest in this verse as an allegory to God, and that this is really the humility to having this path, because surely the rewards are built into it and we will be rewarded. But if we're out there showcasing them and bragging about them and saying, look at me and how healed I am and how good I am, then you're kind of missing the mark. Like the works will show themselves. You'll be seen as healed within that, and not necessarily as a way to show off in that sort of sense. So that jumped out at me there. And then another segment. So in verse 9, for I'm a man under authority, having, so when the centurion basically told Jesus that he was a man under authority and described how this works, and Jesus said that there is no man with greater faith than all of Israel. This is not about Jesus praising some soldier for taking orders from a man. This is an allegory for the soldier saying, I'm under God's authority. I'm listening to God in every step of the way. And therefore, when we do this, when we recognize that we're within that authority, we're within God's righteous authority, then everything else happens for us, and it happens for our benefit. The rewards are built into that. So this is Jesus recognizing that this man is operating within God's authority, and therefore is able to command others, not necessarily in a literal sense, but command the creation around to operate within a realistic way. So that's kind of what I interpreted there. So yeah, I wanted to say that, and then kind of towards the end, where it's dealing with the devils and the swine, and so to me, this kind of was alluding to going back to that choice. There's two paths to choose, and ultimately the path of the devils, and it's not of a literal devil, it's not of a literal Satan, but it's of that spirit that can consume you. It will consume you and will drive you off the cliff. And when you stand in that righteousness, when you stand as Jesus did with that authority, you can command those devils to get out of your way no matter what, because you have God's righteousness behind you, and there is no power, there is no authority, there is nothing that can stand up against that. So yeah, those were kind of the three things that popped out for me in that chapter.
And it's interesting, Justin, that that the passage that you first quoted was 8:9, which is 17, by the way. And this goes back to the rallying cry for all soldiers, which is always truthfully been, not just the U.S. Marines, but is that semper fidelis, semper fi. And semper fi is always loyal. And there's only one thing that always is, which is the one. Where we go one, we go all, is the one. And so we're always loyal to the one. And if all of our fighting men, all of our spiritual warriors are always there's no egregious act that any soldier will ever commit when they are always loyal to the one. And that's semper fidelis, semper fi. And so when that gets perverted to commander-in-chief of some physical nation state upon earth, that's the left brain, and that's facts, figures, and logic. And once again, we can justify entire world wars out of this reality of facts, figures, and logic instead of lore, legend, and magic. So semper fidelis, Justin, is absolutely key, and that's what's being said again, is that the righteous soldier, the righteous warrior, spiritual warrior of God is semper fidelis, which is always loyal to the one. Where we go one, we go all. And and again, with regard to the swine and going off the cliff into the sea, and the possessed dead, the best that anyone who is of the material plane is that they can be cleansed of the mother, which is the sea, which is the water. That's the best they can do, because they have not opened themselves to the dualistic reality of our very nature, which is hell and heaven. And so they choose that path. That path is appointed or anointed to them by all the actions, by all the thoughts that they do or don't take in their existence. And so the best that they can do is, and this is why the many will always take that path that is broad and spacious. And that's why that broad and spacious path always leads to a cliff, to a ledge, with a 1,000-foot drop into the abyss because it is godless. And that's what this chapter is yet again all completely about. It is the trusting. So once again, Jesus is in a perfect place upon high in meditation, and everyone is freaking out upon the ship because the tempest. So this is an allegory, right? So there is no ship per se, but if you want to see it that way, that's totally okay. But just remember, what's happening is that their thoughts are creating the storm. The Christed one is asleep, so they're no longer sitting around the light of the world. They're in the darkness again, and they're back in their left brains again, and they're beginning to worry again. And that is the wind kicking up. And do I see a cresting wave? Are we in some trouble here? And then our minds create this tempest, this storm for us because we're thinking of our left brain. Take no thought for your life. And they wake Jesus and say, oh, Lord, Lord, please help us. And he's like, ye of little faith, ye of little faith. What did I just say to you before I went to sleep and went into meditation? I said to you, cast thy net to the right. Have that leap of faith. Trust in God. Stay to the right side of these things, and ye shall never suffer. You shall never suffer lack, and you won't. But when the light goes out, then there will be fasting again. Then Jesus says, so for now, manna, fill up on the manna, because I am here for a limited time only. But once I'm gone, there's going to be a lot of fasting that's necessary, because when he's gone, then what's left is this information from man. And everybody pretty much knows now that our entire history is a lie. And so then this is the fasting of thought, because when you're taking thoughts based upon lies, then all you're going to get out of it is horrific alchemy. The alchemy that is going to produce out of the left brain is, before long, you're a vampire and you're drinking blood to turn back the hands of time. I mean, it's a slippery slope when you're godless. And that's what this is all about. So again, ye of little faith, all I said to you was stay to the right side of this, and the ship never would have got into trouble at all. But they took thought. And then, so the passage after where Jesus is tired once again of the apostle, he walks out upon the water, and Peter says, Lord, I will be. And Peter takes, 2 steps to the good. He looks around him, and the third step and down water. Again, ye of little faith. Ye of little faith. That's all we have to do now. It's easier said than done. It truly is. That's all we need to do. Please trust in this plan. And Amber was saying earlier, once again, about birds and the seeds and stuff. That incredible passage from Jesus going back into chapter 6, and basically saying that the fowl of the air, do they plant crops? No. Do the fowl of the air, are they concerned about, and how much that they take of the reaping of the crop? No. And how much does the fowl of the air set aside in a storage house for the crops for next season? None. And yet
But
they're
busy planting seeds.
but like Amber saying, but they go about doing their work, is busily planting seeds everywhere, and they operate on circadian rhythms. They know that fowl of the air absolutely knows when, just like Amber absolutely knows when to go to Acapulco or Puerto Escondido. He knows exactly when, because he's operating within himself, and the circadian rhythms point where to go and when to go, and that's the fowl. So what Jesus is saying is that, are you less than a fowl? And that's why it's using the term fowl of the air, to give that connotation that you're more than this. So if the fowl of the air receiving that it absolutely needs to, and party time in Acapulco, in Margarita, and Puerto Escondido, all the time, then why aren't we? Then why aren't we? That's what these chapters are all about. Take no thought for yourself, for your life. Take no thought and simply trust in the plan. There's a beautiful plan. There's a beautiful plan. And there's a beautiful plan for every single one that doesn't step on the toes of any other person or plan. Ahimsa. It is so beautiful. Take no thought for your life. If the fowl in the air does not have a care in the world for next season, but next season always comes about, and they always get to go to Mexico, and they always get to have plentiful plants, and then their job is to transfer the seeds like that. Why are you doubting this process when we are the pinnacle of God's creation? We're the pinnacle, and yet we act like the swine. That's why you have the swine and the dogs and the beasts and the fowl of the air, all these words, because what they're showing you is that when you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas. There's nothing against dogs.
I can attest that.
There's nothing against dogs. It's that when you put yourself into the worst places of your thoughts because you're worthless and useless, there was a big bang and there were dinosaurs and you get one kick at the can and, and we're so evil we should probably just die and let those magical flying chipmunks or squirrels come and take over the next time, and they'll be the predominant race. When you buy into that stuff, you're a swine. When you buy into that stuff, you're the fowl of the air. And they're taken care of, but you will have no faith. You will have no truck with God. You will not settle your debts with the Father of fathers, the provider of providers, the creator of creation, of all. And you will doubt always. And you will get your just rewards, which is the rotten fruit of your life. And it all comes because you don't trust in God. And trusting in God is saying, I'm not going here. I'm not giving that ego of mine an inch, because if I give it an inch, it takes a mile. And then you know how hard it is to reign a mile back, oh Lord. Oh dear Lord, verily, verily, I say unto you. What is verily? Veritas, veritas is the truth. Why does Jesus always say verily, verily? Because he's the truth. Because he's the truth. Trust in these words. Read it for yourself. What did Prince say? Read it for yourself. Get someone like Amber or Justin and Marie to help you to understand these words. And because this book is real. This is the real deal. This is the thing. But again, they're just dead pages on dead paper. They're dead words on dead pages of dead paper. And unless you put life, unless you infuse life into these words, then the Bible is useless. And then God will say unto thee, Jesus will say unto thee, verily, verily, I say, depart from me because I don't know you. I've never known you. If you are only of the pages of the Bible, you do not know Jesus Christ, then he will not be your Savior and he will not be there for you. You have to live this work. You have to do this work. This is what's being said every single step of the way. God is the God of the living, not of the dead. Why would Jesus be so callous to say, I'll be with you, Jesus, momentarily, but my dad just passed away and I got to bury his body? It's a decent and a right thing to do. God said, leave him. Let the dead bury the dead. What is that? Jesus doesn't care. He's just such a selfless person, or a selfish person. And it's like, follow me. Don't worry about, God is the God of the living, not of the dead. Focus upon life and ye shall have life. You focus upon death and ye shall have death. It is your choice. There's a choice to everything. Everything is a choice. Back over to you guys. Love you.
Just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I want to take it to 8:14 and just say, and when Jesus was come into Peter's house and saw his wife's mother laid and sick with a fever, and he touched her hand and the fever left her, and she arose and she ministered unto them. And it's speaking, it's kind of moving from what you were just saying, that it feels like the journey that, she was sick with a fever, because we all at some time in our life are sick with a fever. We're sick in our bodies, our souls are sick, everything is sick. But when we get healed, when we're touched with that spark, and we've all been touched in these types of conversations where we're healed instantaneously, we're awoken, our hearts are lifted, we feel the vibration lift, and then it's like she got up and then she ministered to others. It's so beautiful. It's like she didn't, just like she turned around and she started to serve. And that seems to be how we walk ourselves out of this situation, is that we acknowledge that we have a fever. We allow ourselves to get healed by eating things that are alive and nurturing our body and cleansing and doing this work is not necessarily easy, but it's like what you said earlier, Charlie, it's a slippery slope. I have a friend who says it's a slippery slope to pasta. And it's like, it's a slippery slope, because if you give it an inch, it will take a mile, and how much harder it is to go. And that's what this fine and narrow path is about. It's about getting super, super refined and clean and clear. So like, you're not as tempted. You've been healed. You know where that's going, and you're not weak anymore. You're not pulled down by those parasites or demons or whatever thoughts, excess thinking. You allow yourself to be healed, and then you turn and you minister unto others, because that's what this whole thing is about. And that's what I've witnessed in this community so much, and why I feel so honored to be a part of it. I think it's a privilege to be here, you guys. Like, this is the time. And when you say the slogan is where we go one, we go all, it's all of us. It's take all of you, and get it in that field, get it in there. And that's what we say when we say only love is real, like get in the field, get in there. And it's we start tiptoeing, we start getting in there, but once we're healed, every little step, and we turn around and we serve, it continues to nurture that process, and it keeps it alive within us. Yeah.
And the righteous fruit will come. So Marie's done all of the stuff, and then and then Amber shows up to her door. I mean, sorry, but you can't get a better Christmas present than Amber showing up to your door. I mean, this is what it's all about. And and for all of us doing the work, and we have the friendship of Santos Bonacci, and we have Amber in our life, and we attract Justin and Marie, and then we have everybody that's in this chat room. There's nothing better. These are the riches that no moth can corrupt, and that no rain can oxidize, or no thief can steal in the night. These are the real treasures of the world. This is the righteous rewards of doing righteous work. The rewards of God are built into the work, and they're perfect. The reward you get, no matter what it is, it will always be perfect, because it matches the work you put into it. And so all we're simply saying is be careful about where your nose is from, because the vast majority of the truth community don't teach any truth. I'm sorry, but that is the truth. They share information. Since when is information the truth? I think the mainstream media has pretty much proven that too over the last 100 years. Since when is information the truth? And even if it's got a fragment of the truth in it, it's not the whole truth. All that matters, you put your hand on the Bible, and what do you promise to say? I promise to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. This is what the truth is. It's whole, and then it will make you whole. So we have to become whole. And then the rewards are Amber comes into our life, Justin comes into our life, Marie comes into our life, Siobhan comes into our life, Sinead flowers into what she's become, and she has Dante. And it's just like, wow, it just, I feel embarrassed by the riches that we have, embarrassed by the riches that we have. And so, but I don't ever want it to stop. So I will never, ever stop just being, the wife, the mother of Peter, and just, I just want to be healed. And once you heal me, then I'll get busy administering care and compassion unto others. I'll serve God's creation, because that's what I'm here to do. We're shepherds. Again, think Krishna, the cow herder, and Jesus Christ, the sheep herder, the shepherd. Folks, powerful, powerful allegories telling you these are the highest of highs throughout our backstory, and they were serving others. I mean, come on, that's what we're here to do.
Just real quickly, Susan made a great point. They don't share information, they share outformation.
Oh,
Nice one.
That's
Outformation.
brilliant. That's
That is
brilliant.
brilliant.
Yeah.
good one for me. That's great.
That's a good one.
I like that.
Amber's glowing the light. And you in the chat. And you know what else is happening now, Charlie? Ever since that show, when you guys invited us, you invited me to do that show with Santos, and then we met this beautiful man and all of this. Now, that was the moment I think that I really got tapped, and I really felt it. And ever since then, the miracles, it's like you said, like sometimes I'm like, wow, can I really keep receiving this? And that's why I seek to create so much space within me, because the more space I have, the more I can receive these gifts and then share them out. And now it's like we have a family who just got here from Michigan, and we're going to go see them in a couple of hours. They flew from Chicago overnight to come down for 2 weeks, and they're looking at, they're transferring their family into a frugivore diet. They're trying to make changes, and every day I'm getting messages from people that are, hey, how did you do this? Where are you? And I think I'm going to come, and oh my God, this is so. And so it's such a blessing, and to remove the business aspect of this has allowed so much freedom for my own self to just be as I am without any masks. And I think that that's been a huge part of this, is that we talked about this on Monday, we're wearing masks, and this is a shedding. This is the rawest we can get. And I think that that's what people are attracted to so much. I love it when they kiss. I love it when they kiss. But it's really beautiful. And I hear you often say, we don't want to idolize you. It's not that, but we really appreciate you. And I just want to say that. And I've said it a number of times publicly, but we do, because that tap was the tap for me, and it changed everything. My kids now, how could I ever repay that other than go and serve, which is what you said for me to do. You said that. You said next time a family needs you, you'll be there for them, and I have been. And that's been the biggest gift that I've seen come through this beautiful community. So I know that there's a lot of people concerned about the people that were here and that are leaving and all of that, but it's just keep going. It's just keep going, and people can only go as far as they can go right now. They're in transition too, and we can just keep going and go deeper and deeper. And I think that that's what really shakes people up, is like, wait a second, we're resonating here in this place, and now you're changing, and I don't know if I want to do that yet. And it's like, well, that's okay, but I'm going to just keep going, because I got tapped and I got healed and I got turned on. And if I don't do that, I will suffer. And we just decide that we want the gifts of heaven. We want them now. And when he opened the door, we just sat there and laughed for like 5 minutes.
Truth.
We were just like,
Truth.
I was like, open the door. I was still in my pajamas. I hadn't even brushed my teeth. It was just like, started laughing.
Do you remember the look on Colleen and my face when Amber appeared on the show with you and Santos? It was utter bliss. It was just absolute bliss, because this is the real treasures of this world. And
So-
again, you and Justin are the real treasures of this world. This is the only currency I want to deal with. And so, like again, with Colleen and I, we don't have a savings account. We don't have an investment portfolio. I couldn't give a shit about any of those things. Don't have insurance on anything. We don't buy into busyness in any form. We do the work. So everything we teach, we do. Because if we're not, then we're false prophets. And false prophets often are ravening wolves. So we have to do what it is that we teach here. We have to live this. And so, again, when people wake up to the fact that you and Justin and Amber are the true treasures of this world, and that this is the currency that we need to be collecting and then freely sharing with everyone else, then we've won. The game's over for them. When we see that this is the real currency of the world, we've won, and we'll never ever ever go back. And that's why I always say it with 107 and some of the things that he says and stuff. Lies have no part to this resurrection. There was no lie in Jesus Christ, and that's why they had to kill him. They had to kill him because he could not be stopped. He would not be corrupted, right? Because all of his treasures were up here, and he was sharing everything from up here, which is beyond tarnish, cannot be tarnished. And so they had to kill. And that's why so many people are alive, and so many people have been John Galted out of Hollywood and other places, because these are people that were pushed to the brink and they wouldn't give. And at the last second, God intervened. Someone came along and said, there's another way. Would you like to take door number 2?
Which is
please?
which is a breakaway society, is what Ayn Rand was talking about. She had a breakaway society.
Atlantis.
They
called it
couldn't
Atlantis.
fix the broken system. They went and created another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what we're talking
Built out
about.
of love, contributism, service
And
to
that-
others.
It's such a gift. It's such a gift to use your creative skills and to allow that come through, and to look at, okay, how do we want to live? What's timeless? I love that. What's timeless? And how do we nurture the land that's nurtured us?
Yeah.
And in creating these communities and teaching our children the Bible and teaching them the story and demonstrating that for them
Mhm.
is so powerful. And then they're playing it. I mean, you should see him with the children. It's like they climb on him. They're like all up in his stuff. I'm like trying to get Ruby to give him space, but it's very sweet how we can trust each other. That's something I love my brothers by blood, but I never really trusted that relationship. There was always like something, because we weren't vibing on the same level, and it just wasn't, and it's just a fact, and it doesn't need to be explained any more than that. But when we come together like this, it's like, these are the people that I want my children to be around.
Mhm.
Because they're walking the walk, and they're doing it, and they're doing it with grace and with laughter. I've never heard anyone laugh like this. Like he laughs out loud, like early in the morning. Takes me a minute to get to morning laughter, but like out loud, like it resonates. The whole house is like, wow, this guy's really going for it. And it's not it's not a fake, it's not a mask. Like if I say to him, thank you for all this, he's like, this is natural. And that's really been the line all these years that I've said, but now I'm really learning how to embrace, like, this is about our natural state of being, coming back to nature, being who we were created to be,
Yes.
using this material to support us in letting go of all those shackles, all of the gnashing of teeth that we've all done, all of the tears we've all shed, all of the fevers we've had. Like, that's what this is. This is an ultimate healing. It's so deep. It's so beautiful.
Yep.
It's so refined. It's incredible. It's a gift. And that's what, you've offered us. That's it. You've tapped it and you've been like, hey, and everyone keeps taking it and tapping it. And now we're just shedding this whole circle. And we're like, look, this is what's real. This is what's real. Nothing else is real. We don't want any of that. That's all insanity. We don't want any of it. And that's what we're breaking away from. And it's beautiful. And it's beautiful. And it's working. And it's easy. Like, that's what's shocking me, is like, it's literally easy. It's magnetism. Like, oh my gosh, like, you think of something and it happens. You want something to drink, it's there. It's like, it's just all unfolding. There's no effort.
Ooh, it's an allowance.
It's allowing.
We're no longer dependent on this outer allowance of money, of the business. We're seeing through the busyness of business.
Yeah.
So we can get into the isness. We need more isness men and women who are in the stillness.
Yes.
And in that still, you're refining your essences like just a still does to create alcohol, except we're creating that good wine.
The healthy wine.
That healthy wine, sipping on that beautiful blissed out blood, updated by the chrism.
Beautiful.
And I love thinking, well, first of all, I really love the rabbinical approach to looking at the Bible. There's a system called Pardes, P-A-R-D-E-S. It's an acronym for some Hebrew words, and it's basically a literal interpretation, allegorical, symbolic, and mystical. And I found that to be very useful in looking at all sacred texts, especially the one about when Christ goes into the temples to drive out the money changers. It's the Christed oil is going in between the two temples to drive out how this monai, which projects the symbolic value onto money is monai. Once we drive that out and see our real currency the real trust, the real bond, security, and interest, it's not banking terminology. It's between people and with our loved ones. So as we reclaim how our physiology and psychology has been externalized by the bankers and get back to the onkers through the onking, because the onk, it's like a cross, and this little circle right here, it's like a drop of oil rising up. And as we get into this isness and we still our mind, we're coming into this capacity of the magnetic attraction. It's no longer about the lower chakras, electrical charging and then discharging, charge and discharge. It's just about the magnetic allowing, that allowance to come through. And just to tie it back to, this Matthew part, what really spoke out to me is that image of like the devil's going to the pigs, the swine. Just my literal take on that is the reason that people of the Jewish and Islamic faith do not eat pigs and swine is because they know those parasites go into the brain. They'll literally eat holes in your brain. And so it's really important to, again, stay away from meats, but especially the pork. The pork is really, really dirty. And this is ancient knowledge. We're just remembering all of this. And one thing I just want to support to what Charlie was speaking on, that importance of faith with the ships and the storms is, I think it's Hebrews 1:11. And it's that faith is the essence of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. We're having a lot of experiences of our inner gnosis being validated. We're sticking to our truth and we're seeing people fall away from this path. But like the Essene Gospel of Peace says, your brothers and your sisters and your tribe and your family are the ones who are doing the will of your Father, the earthly mother and the heavenly Father. And so realize you're not losing anything. You're just making space for authenticity to take its place.
And really, really, really quickly that was brilliant. And just quickly to add to that again, why was Tesla's coil, why did it look identical to an Egyptian ankh? Because Tesla was pulling from zero gravity, from zero
To hero.
Zero density, from 0 point energy, and he was pulling from the beginning. And then repeating and then connecting the cycle through the 8 through magnetism. And so this is why you have the ankle being the shape that it is. So it's this faith. Tesla was a devout man of God and the teachings of Jesus Christ. And so it makes perfect sense, because born out of this devout faith and trust grows that teardrop that flowers into a magnetic field, which is a scalar wave, which is the eternal 8, which is this 0 point energy that then just gives forever. And so it's just absolutely beautiful.
Wow. Amazing.
So good.
Beautiful.
Truly. Yeah, I mean, it's and that's why we have to be committed to that, and we have to be not really focusing on not casting our pearls to the swine, those who are not ready for moving on to that, because they'll do it in their own time or not, and that's not for us to decide. And so by stepping into this fully, we get to create that now. We don't have to wait. We get to step into it now. And by creating that now, we allow that to grow. We allow that light to shine, and we allow that to be in the most beautiful way possible. So yeah, let's take ownership of this process. Let's get away from this idea that something is going to save me, that something is going to come and take hold and take me there. But let's take ourselves there. Let's really own this process and really step into it. Yeah, another incredible show today, guys. I don't think we're going to have time for chapter 9. But are there any sort of final comments y'all want to add on to today's show before we close out?
Just say thank you to everybody in the chat room. You're cracking us up. We just got a good laugh from, I think it's Siobhan and Wisnosis. And we love you guys, and we're so grateful to be in this thing. And I just love what you shared earlier too, just about like, we're not losing. This is our tribe, this is our family, and these are the ones that we're going through this journey with. And it's really, wow, just so much gratitude. And I'm still processing it all and learning how to hold all the love, because it's very immense. It's beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Justin, for hosting and doing the techie stuff for us today, and holding the space, and just being such an anchor of light and peace and joy, and just so solid. It's really nice. And Colleen, it was so fun to have you here today. We love you, Colleen. Charlie already knows how much we love him, so we'll move on. We love you guys.
So much.
Yeah, and so we have a show. What do we got coming up, guys?
We got Friday Q&A at 2 p.m. Central with me and Charlie. So we'll announce more on this. I'm sure Charlie will put out notice, but we're basically gonna open it up to people to hop on to the show and ask some questions. A little brief minute to kind of hop on and ask some questions. We'll probably take some offline questions as well, and this is going to become a regular bi-weekly thing on Fridays, to just have an open session and really get to know the community a little better, really get to give people to have a voice and step into this, because we're all doing this together. And as we've said, we don't want to be the talking heads. We don't want to be just giving you information. We want this all to be like a cohesive process where we're all learning and growing together. So I think this would be a great way to open that up. So that's coming Friday. And then tomorrow, also on Friday, on Marie's channel, Marie and I are going to be hosting a show with Peter Wilson. And and
He was like, what?
No, not Simon Parks.
Hilarious.
With Peter Wilson, who was in the chat earlier, and we're going to be going over, he's going to be sharing so much knowledge that he's acquired on the Maritime Admiralty Law and just this fake system that we've been birthed into, and how to take tangible steps to reclaim your name and reclaim ownership of your sovereignty, so that we can take action, so we can stand in right action and really do some things now and not be relying on external saviors, and really standing in our power and our truth, or the truth, and I should say our truth. So that'll be Friday at 10 a.m. Central, and we'll make sure to announce that as well. And then we've also got the Song Decode weekly episode on Sunday at 8 p.m. Central. We'll get another announcement out on that. And I believe, and then Miraculous Mondays on Monday. Make sure you're there for that. Marie is just a wealth of gnosis, and she just provides such a safe space to really share authentically and be vulnerable with you. And it's a beautiful place of healing. I mean, she really provides that, and we're so grateful for that. So that's about it as far as I know of what's going on. And then obviously this next Wednesday, we're going to keep this going on the same time on Wednesdays moving forward for now. So Wednesday at same time, 1 p.m. Central, for the foreseeable future. And yeah, I think that's about it. Do y'all have any others that I'm missing?
I think we're gonna do a show with Marie and Amber, just going into greater March 4th. Okay, going into greater detail about Amber's tree of life, which is everything, absolutely everything. Again, have that Christmas tree up in your house every single day, fully lit, because that's reminding you who you really are and what your purpose is. On WeTransfer, Justin has this incredible account now on WeTransfer where you can go on at any point, and I think the stuff that we put up there stays up for a year. I think that that Justin has it now, and as I have more time, I'm just going to continue to add more and more and more things.
So like the movies that we're recommending to you, the different books and PDFs and things like that.
And all the songs that we've decoded, I'll eventually get everything transferred over there for you. And there's another movie that I want to just quickly mention, and I'll put it up there, and that is the original adventure. You have no idea. The gentleman that wrote the
Wow.
screenplay for this is an alchemical wizard, and he absolutely knew this stuff. And
It's the one story.
it's the total the story, the total the one story. It happens on New Year's Eve, and they have to climb up the Christmas tree to be able to get out of the bowels of hell. You just everything that we read today in Matthew 7 and 8 is that movie. It's incredible. And you know they make it, or some make it in the end. So you'll see incredible stuff. So we're going to do that as well. And any time that Amber wants to jump into any of these shows and the Q&As, because and Justin and I may even just dedicate one of the Q&As to just food and just you know. Just dietary questions, concerns, or whatever. Parasites. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Just building block ABCs of how to take control of your reality and how to have real health in your life.
Solutions.
Yeah. So yeah. Soul.
Yes.
Solutions. So anytime that Amber, because I mean he's just such a timeless resource of wisdom. And so the more we can do this, and yeah, we just want to be there for you. And again, like Marie said, it's staggering when you really wake up to this, staggering how easy this is. Knowing how God does all of this, I don't know. And I don't need to know. But the fact of the matter is that that's not really why we're here. What we're here to do is this journey, is this work. And when you actually wake into it, it's actually really darn easy. It is. It's absolutely easy. So, yep.
Yeah, and just to add clarification on WeTransfer, it's my understanding that each new upload has a separate link to it. So the easiest way that we're going to organize these is I'm going to put all the links that are uploaded onto my link tree, so that there's one easy repository to find all of those. And I'm going to get Charlie and Colleen set up with the link tree as well, so that they can have that also. But that'll be an easy way to just have a whole catalog of everything we've uploaded on there, and you can go through and click on whichever one, and it'll bring you straight to the WeTransfer and for your downloading pleasure.
And when we get the website, we'll have all of that on there, so people can just go and use that as a library, a reference, and it'll be beautiful.
Yeah. All right, guys.
And Sunday night's music decoding show is an entire tribute to the band America. Five incredible alchemical songs. So it's going to be a really wonderful night. Yeah.
Ventura Highway in the sunshine.
Yeah.
My kids
Beautiful.
love that.
And I just one final thing, since everyone's dealing with this feeling of maybe being more isolated than ever with all this division that's going on, is that what we probably all have in common is we're all the black sheep of the family. Yeah, not to say, some division is very healthy. So this is like, the cell division happens to get out, the bad cells. So I just want to say that, I really love the word tribe. And I think it's really important, because maybe a reason we've been feeling estranged from family is cognate, meaning it has the same etymological root as the word famished. And if you look at the etymology of family, it means household servant. And servants were controlled by not being given food. Go to bed without your dinner. Where did that come from? That comes from this origin of family being related to household servants. And what we're returning to is the timeless tribe. And this is why I feel that the Bible is an instruction manual to create the tribal. Ooh. We are creating a tribe, because as we activate and balance this Bible, this double torus field, we are also learning to harmonize with the torus field that is the universe. And those are the three bowls in one. And so I just want to welcome everyone to the tribe. And it goes back to tree, because tribe comes from tribu. tri coming from tree, and then bu meaning to grow. So it goes back to this tree of life, this growing. The tree of life is a Torah, it's a bowl, like Santos. So just remember, in all these feelings of isolation, we're all feeling that to some extent. Just remember that we are making space for this tribe to come together, and it is the most beautiful thing that could happen.
Yeah, and you know what? For absolute sure, we are the 13th tribe. I think that was Debbie Scully who said that. We are the 13th tribe, and you watch for it, because we're all going to start to manifest Eamon's horn, and it won't be very long before that melatonin starts kicking through all of us, and we have that glow. And then, we are these white magical creations with a horn protruding out, which is that third world that Amber is absolutely talking about. So that is the protrusion out of the manifestation, out of the living the Bible, because they're dead words on dead pages if you don't breathe life to them. You have to breathe life to these words. Then it's white magic, and it's a white spell. It's an incantation that manifests out through Eamon's horn, and that you literally will become. You will see all of these analogies. We are the unicorn. We are the unicorn of the universe.
And look at the word tribal. Tri, B, so the 3, the mother is B, and Al is the father.
Ooh. Yeah, well, and yeah, so that's right. So A and B the feminine, A the masculine,
So
and L the light of this world, which is the child,
So
Jesus
it's the father,
Christ.
the mother,
and the
child. It's
yeah.
the 3. It's the
The
unity.
tri and the tri,
It's the Trinity.
and the tri.
So we are a beautiful 13th tribe.
And again, folks, to end the show on just quickly some more symbolic and numerological magic. Again, the 140. Remember, that's 2 72s. And 72 is those magical 3 days. Everything good happens when you begin to observe creation in threes and in 3 days. Then everything is born out of that. So 72 hours is always so special. So those 3-day fasts are because it just builds a whole new you within those 3 days. And then when you rule your 3 lower chakras through the 72-hour fast, you can then go into meditation and rule over the 3 higher in-body chakras through meditation, and you've created 72 and 72. And by the way, all of the lotus petals within us that come into activation by becoming alkaline as we go through this process, all of them up into the throat chakra equals 72. And then when we go to the 3rd eye chakra, it doubles. It doubles everything that we've done. That's the 272. So 72 to get to the throat, and then we cross over, and we get the other 72, and that's 144. And that's the 144 that you wear upon your brow. And then where does 144,000 come from? When you ascend that, which is the chrism oil, when you ascend that through this, the crucible, the furnace of the fornix, and the gray rain curtain of this world rolls back, and there you see it. There you see it, a far green country with white shores under a swift sunrise. That's it, and that's the 1,000-fold explosion. That is the true crucifixion through the fornix, the crucifixion, and there it is. And you've built 144,000. You are the tribe, and you wear it with the 144,000 rays upon your head. So it's all magic. Their world is stupid. Their world is literally ridiculous. It is stupid. And God's creation is magic and is beautiful. And you just walk on the air every single day when you live this magical truth. And then you'll create friends like Amber coming into your life. You'll create Marie and Danny and Justin coming into your life, and Siobhan and Sinead and Dante into your life. You will create all of these things for you through the realm of magic, because you are the unicorn of the universe. But if you don't believe that, I can't help you. You have to first take a step of a leap of faith. When you do that leap of faith, You'll climb out of that pit of hell. You'll make that jump because everyone wants you to make that leap. Everyone's on your side. Only they are against you. Everything else,
So it's time to cut the rope and take that leap of faith.
that's right. Trust in God.
Perfect. Great way to end
I
today.
love you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all for being here. We love you so much, so much. And we'll see you.